Hello. Okay, that works now. Hello. It's you. Okay, good. Everything always goes horribly wrong. It's fine. Everything's fine. Anyways, today I have a special guest. Kind of. It's a magic Mickey's pick thing. It's a little doll. When I was shopping for my wool on Amazon, and I was like under the limit for free shipping, and I was like, I know what I can do. Buy a doll. Waste my money. I'm like, all of my desktop thing. Normally you can't see that. And it's probably messy over there, but I tried to make it look somewhat nice. Look, I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna unbox her because it's a very special unboxing. What? What? I take the plastic off. Probably follow the instructions. You makes it all together and it magically reveals her. If I can get this bitch open. There's more. Now are you ready? Ugh. 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 Much trash. Now there's elastics. This is why I have skizzers. Snip. Snap. We got to figure out all the steps. All the little steps for the little girl. Well, ah! Yes, she's made of magic. It's beautiful. I don't know what to do with that. I have a random plastic thing now. Okay. I have lots of random plastic. Which way is the front? I think that's the front. I don't know. I kind of want to... Oh, yeah, because this has... like some kind of mattifying on it. And then this is where she will be revealed. Well, I gotta figure it out. Hello. Give me instructions, please. Aha! Attention! Potion making can get messy. Place it on a plate for easy cleanup. Remove paper ring. I have a plate, I just don't have it on me. Fine, I'm gonna get a plate, because it said to get a plate, and I don't want to ruin my entire desk setup. I'll be right back. Getting a plate! I got a plate. A plate. It's not a tablecloth, it's just a random piece of fabric. I don't know if it's gonna make a mess, then this contains the mess, right? I'm following instructions. I've never done it before, I don't know. I hope I can keep it contained. Pour in your pixeling powder elixir. Okay. But first we need to take this guy off, I guess. I guess I could throw this away, I don't know. There's lots of trashes. Remove. Remove? It's not removing. I want to fuck it up. Oh, do I remove this? That's probably what I remove. I'm assuming I remove that. You know which doll you got by the gem. You can't quite see it. There's a gem on the top. And you can tell which doll you got because of that. I think also this gem tells you which one you got. I'm not entirely sure. There are markings on the outside of it that you can tell which one it is. It's not entirely random. Okay, so we got to put this one in there. We got some goopy bags. Does it go in there? I don't want to twist it because I don't want to fuck it up. Help. Do I need to look up the easy how-to video? Remove paper and acetate. What is an acetate? Oh! I just had to be violent. No more plastic. Okay. Is that where it goes? Is that where I put the water in? I think that's where I put it in. I'm gonna put it in there, and if that's wrong, I'm sorry. I'm very tempted to just, you can't even see that. I'm gonna snap my fucking cord. Nah, 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 nah. I suddenly cut out because I snipped the cord because I couldn't handle my impulse control. Oh, there's something in there. Oh gosh. This is probably a bad plan. Oh, it's coming out. There's a blue-ish liquid. I might need to cut it slightly more. It got me already. Oh god, wait, no. I got. I've already fucked it all up. How blue's my finger? Okay, it came off. I need to cut it slightly more. I am magic now. I knew it. I was a fairy all along. Okay. Oh god. Oh god. It's gone horribly wrong. It's all gone horribly wrong. I think I got my keyboard. Just pour so I can clean up after you. This was such a bad idea. Why did I want to do this on stream? I should have just done it on my own. I could have just done this at my kitchen table. Get out of here! Go in the trash! Oh gosh. I have to use my nasty tissue to clean all up. Maybe? Just a tiny bit? It's fine. Oh, fuck, I'm pressing buttons too. Everything's fine. That does smell like ink. It's a very ink smell. It got on the top. It's all dirty on top. You're okay. Everything's fine. It's okay. Yeah, I definitely need the plate. Oh god! Okay, thank you for the plate suggestion. Okay. And then we put in water. Wipe any spilled pixeling elixir using a damp cloth. It dries clear and should not stain most common surfaces. Thanks. Now we're just gonna use my wobber bobble. Delicious. Please. Yeah! Okay, this one I have much more control over. The other one kind of went everywhere. You're gonna need a lot of water, aren't you? Yes, okay. You're gonna empty... I just filled this up before stream and I'm gonna have to fill it up again. Jesus. What am I gonna drink? Else I'll die of thirsty. Okay. There we go. To the fill line. They know they made a messy-ass toy! People these days keep making their messy-ass toys. So rude. Ooh, it's kind of swirly in there. Ooh! It's swirly, twirly. Look at that. Is it around the back at all? It's hard to tell. Anyways, wait, yes. Then we have to add our fairy dust! It's real fluid! You're so realistic. It's real fluid, you weirdo! A snip. Is it a powder in here? Or is it a little gemstone? It's... Why am I wet? I'm wet. I know why I'm wet. It's because everything got wet. Open! It's not a video game. Okay, it's not coming out very well. Come out of your stupid little package. All these toys are such a waste of packaging, but they're adorable. I love them anyway. This is the only one I've ever got. Oh, they're like little stars. Little stars of fairy dust. Plop. Plop. That's it. There's no more. There was just 2 little bits of fairy dust. They could have put real dust in there. I feel like whatever. Maybe they were like, it's enough. We gotta add a fairy wing. There's a wing of a fairy in here. There's a couple different designs. I think these are based on, I think the ingredients are based on what I'm trying to make. I got the fairy girl. There's also... Oh, he's so cute. Ah, where's the camera? There she is. I can't see it. It's blurry as fuck. Get in there. Get... It worked! It's based on the doll you got. I got the fairy one because I'm obsessed with fairies. But there's also like a deer and a unicorn and a couple others. Remove the golden ring. I already did that. To reveal the magic words. Magicus mixus. I should not tilt it. It's a bad plan. And then you have to turn this until it stops. Okay. Oh God! What? No! Ah! She's already there! I thought I was supposed to press it! I wasn't even watching! I wasn't watching! I was reading instructions now! Ah, I missed it! It just turned into a happy end. Oh man. There she is! She's in there! And then you gotta take off the lid somehow? I don't know how to do that. Oh, it came. I'm kind of interested to like examine the box. Oh, oh, oh! She's in there. You can't see shit. She's wet. I need more paper towels. Hey! I'm putting her back in for a minute. Somehow I didn't think to get paper towels. I'll be back again. Wipe them on my little desk tablecloth. I don't know. Oh, God. Does anyone know where I can buy a desk that is approximately the size of the moon? She's in a watertight capsule, yes. Just the outside of the capsule is wet. And so if I touch the capsule to anything, then the stuff the capsule is touching will get wet. I didn't put the second bag in. Maybe I needed to put the second bag in. Is it just more dye? What's in there? I'm just gonna cut it open and look at it. That's probably a bad idea. Nobody watched this stream. It's embarrassing. Wait. Oh, wow. I'm sorry! I fucked it up. Go watch a TikTok. Oh, God. Come on. Oh! Ah! More water! How do I get you detached, girlfriend? Ugh. Oh, I just had to be not gentle. The lid is dripping a little bit. See, I'm also interested about the contraptions in here. Like, where did they hide the magic? Yeah, this is just a jar, man. I thought there was, like, multi-chambers, but it might be... Okay. Magic revealed! There's, like... some kind of container in there. It's that little white thing. It's like a pouch, and when you turn it, it must let that out, and then that, like... erases the magic? I think it just releases whatever is in here into the jar, which will then clear the dye, I guess? I don't know. Fascinating! We're gonna... Because I just have an empty jar now, we're just gonna pour this one in for the fuck of it. What's this one look like? Don't go on my keyboard, you bitch. It's more blue! Oh yeah, it's like disappearing the second it hits the water. So there must be some kind of substance that gets mixed into the water when you release it from the top that then erases the dye, I guess? Yeah. I mean, I think just twisting the top will reveal it and open it. Because that's like the one thing that I didn't want to do is it starts like this in the open position. And then you turn it like that. It came apart more. Let me see your goalie works. The gemstone blocks it though. Ah, it's dripping on me. More pee-pee towels. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of container within the lid. And then like the twisting it. Oh, and there's spikes in the bottom. That's what the pumping does. Is there's spikes. And then when you pump it, like, the spikes must stab into the container that has whatever powder or whatever is erasing the dyes. Fascinating. I'm gonna close you in the hopes that I don't sometime kick you over onto my floor. Is that useful at all? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try not to run over that later, although I probably will. Are you dry now, love? She's got a little bit of fairy dust on her. The hair is touchable. The hair is there. She's got hair. It's real, I can feel it. I don't know. Everything goes in the trash. Ugh, it's all gross, it's sticky and wet. Where did my paper towel go? It come back. It rolled under the ground. Oh god. You mess. I have to re-roll them. It's like a cat got at them or something. Oh, better. Okay, you go right there, I guess, because it won't roll around anymore. Can I just... Aha! This is... Oh no. It's a spooky plant. It's like Little Shop of Horrors guy. Spooky plant. Stay there. Pixlings 5+ Collector's Guide. Oh right, that shows off the different ones. Which again, it does tell you on the top of the box, although it is kind of like playing into the mystery marketing that like a lot of dolls do these days. I don't know, I'm not a fan of mystery boxes personally, especially in like real life toys, but there's the unicorn and the deer and the mermaid. What's the blue one? The dragon pixling, and then there's her. This last one is the fairy pixling. I don't know, I just like to know what I'm getting. Oh, her face is adorable. Oh. Oh. That was the part where I scream about dolls. Oh, she's got some twist ties on. Where did you go, scissors? They're underneath the paper towel. Why wouldn't they be? It's not snip you, just and myself. I'm putting my fingers in harm's way. Because I'm smart. Come off. Be released, my child. Oh. The deer is pink. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, she and the deer look kind of similar. It's like pink and yellow. There isn't a green one, actually. I mean, she's kind of green. She's got green accents. I just think the dolls are cute. Like, I would never have bought this for myself if I hadn't seen what they looked like on the inside, because I ain't that kind of girl. I like seeing what I get. I even don't super love buying dolls online. Like, that was one thing about that yellow girl, Delilah Fields, I believe is her name. She's a Rainbow High doll. And I wanted her really bad, but I also wanted to make sure that I wanted to buy her in person, because that trying to point is hard when I'm like, her in particular has an issue with the dye on her lips is often misprinted. And like, I looked through like 5 of the dolls at the store, and most of them had this weird lip issue, but luckily I found one that didn't, and that was why I didn't want to buy her online, because I thought, I'm gonna buy her and her lips are gonna be all fucked up, because 90% of them have fucked up lips. Because she's got like dark red lips that are very different than the rest of her, and they had a lot of like staining, so it just looked like she was eating red sauce or something. It didn't look great. But she's super cute. I love her hair. Her little skirt. She's got a little top. She's got a molded on top. She's got a little gem in her forehead. I love her face. Her face is super cute. They went all in on the details. And like non-human ears. Love that. She's got elbows and shoulder joints. Legs are just back and forth. Those shoes! The detail on these guys is super cute. And she's got her little skirt, which I think can technically come off. Maybe. Shall we disrobe you, my love? Skirt's pretty on there. It's a real tight elastic. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. She's adorable. I love her. I love her hair. It's really nice. A lot of dolls have like a lot of shit in their hair, so it's not very nice to touch because it's crunchy as fuck. But her hair's actually nice. It's not that crunchy, which is cool. And she's got her fairy wings. Look at that. They've even got a gradient. They're like more orange in the middle and the back, which I think is just the plastic they were made with. That's really cute. And her little hair tie has a little thing. Sorry, I'm not sure where the camera is, so I keep... Look at her! Can you see her? She's so cute! Yay! I love her! I really like the arm sculpt, honestly. Like, her hands are adorable. She says hello! Aw, what a sweetie. Here, you want to sit next to my lobster? Here you go. You sit by the lobster. Okay, now I gotta do the hard part, which is adjusting my camera so it's top down again. Say goodbye to the spider and oh, his name is J-Lo from the True Meaning of Smack Day. Woo! That way. Sorry. Close your eyes if you're motion sick. I kind of gotta do this so I can see where the edge of the desk is and shit. Come on, I had you all adjusted and then it immediately unadjusted itself because it's a little bitch. Okay, I think that's probably as good as I'll get it. And now we can do some needle belting. Well, I can't see it if the BRB screen is on, because the BRB screen covers it. Ugh, why did you get so... There you go. Ah! And the stupid fucking mount is not holding onto it right. Did you click in? No. It's like slowly drifting downwards. Can you stay in place? I fucking adjusted you 15 times yesterday and you're being a little bitch. Please donate to my coffee so I can get an equipment upgrade because I'm #suffering. Do you see how it's fucking drifting down the second I let it go? Where's the weak spot, huh? Where? It's like right there. Tightening the screw. Okay, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. So, I got some new wool. Including colors! There's some that fell out of the package. Where are all the colors? Let's look at all our colors. Whatcha? Whatcha? So many colors! So many beautiful colors! I got a bunch of colors and stuff. And this is just like basic roll roving, which it hasn't been dyed. Where did I put my scissors? I had them mere moments ago. And I have no idea where the fuck I put them. Did I put them in the box? They're on the ground. Yes, all the colors I could ever need. Including the not colors. Couldn't feel shit. Ah! Just let me rip the tape. The tape is not rippable. Maybe it is. No, it's not. I keep trying. And it keeps falling! Don't move! You little bitch! I keep trying and like it's like I haven't adjusted it so it's too heavy so it keeps dragging it downwards because gravity is an unstoppable force. I need my littler scissors. I have those too. There they are. It's fine. I mean, we don't even have that much desk space. Like, again, I need a big desk. I thought this one was big, and then I put all my shit on it. I was like, oh no, this is a small desk. So also, I have to wear glasses, because otherwise I can't see my stupid computer screen. Yeah, there we go. I wish it was bigger, but I don't know. I just need to go to IKEA and be like, sir, find me the biggest desk you have. Yeah, that's cool. That's really dense in there, too. Yeah, so that's just the basic wool that is not been dyed. I'm throwing more shit on the ground. We'll put that to the side because I'm not super using it. Look at out of colors. Is there a way for you to reseal? It's done now, if there was. Yeah. I'm gonna have to find some plastic bags for those. My mom probably has gallon-sized bags I can steal. How much is in each of these? Oh, yeah. Well, that's a decent amount. Yeah, they're packed fairly tightly. Yeah, that's a decent amount. Cool. Cool. She's so cute. I'm just looking at her and admiring her. So the sort of plan for today was to make, according to that book we were looking at last time, the fairy, which I still have a skeleton for, but nothing else yet. So we probably want to find like a skin color one in here. They had some cool wool that had like some texture to it. These are all not really textured. That's okay though. I'm just making a mess. And I also wanted to make her like a fall theme. So some of the fall theme things. I need to reorganize which box is which because I still have no leftovers from the others. These are smaller packages. Some of them are the same size. Some are smaller. Do I want any of these? Thinking maybe a color similar to that. Those look about the same. And then any like fall colors we wanted. Those look the same. They look similar. And then I might use that for the hair actually. I don't want blue. Blue's not my fall colors. That's off theme. That's not the theme I'm going for. Maybe another day. Put those in there for now. That's kind of the fall what colors we got to work with. And then my finger covers and my needle. My stabber. Here we go. We'll go in box. I guess we can keep some greens. I don't know. So that looks more like a dark brown skin. I don't know if it's probably not going to follow exactly the fairy in the book, which I no longer have, sorry. I returned it to the La Baby. But I thought she could be like a black girl with some fall colors, and I might try and make some like leaf shapes with the colors that I have. And then make a skirt out of them. Vague ideas. I don't know if any of them will work, but I can try. I did have pictures of most of it on my phone, at least, because I was like, I'll take pictures of it. Sure, why not? Yeah, so I was sort of doing like, oh, you can't see that at all, but like a mix of the fall one and the spring one. Okay. Yes, I took pictures of book. I have lots of wool on my desk now. And then we can watch some video game videos. Some videos. And more doll videos, because I think doll videos are cute and kind of match the themes. I don't know, should we start with them? Oh, wait. We have to watch this. It's not tiny. It's a perfectly regular size. Yeah, don't make fun of my phone size. Anyways, this came up on my suggested videos, and I need to see what the fuck is going on here. So... oh no. Uh-huh. Oh, yep, okay! 2 tags! Oh! What? And you could choose the same character? It came out like today, dude. 6 hours ago, yeah. Overwatch 2 Classic. So they just put the same game back. 3 weeks. Only for 3 weeks, though. 6v6. No limits, so you can have multiples of the same character. Which is fun! Most broken shit in the world. Oh no! Mercy maids are gonna nut so hard! Mercy maids having the biggest nut, holy shit! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! People who play Mercy like Old Mercy. People who don't play Mercy don't like Old Mercy. Let's be perfectly clear about that. Oh no. This will have vast and overreaching consequences, although I don't know what they're gonna be, but it sounds like it's not gonna be forever. Mercy Main's gonna pop the biggest nut though. Holy shit. She was probably one of the most impactful characters in the game, in her heyday, so that'll be interesting to see. Blizz, literally. You made a mistake. Just re-release the game that you deleted. I don't know, they might do that too. Oh boy. Ah. Let's start attaching wool.
With my fellow doll artists, Etolen, Enchantarium, and Doll Links to bring you the sassiest space-age crew in the galaxy. Each of us designed an essential crew member in our team of aliens, which I'll show you at the end. My crew member, Communications Officer. Let me show you the concept art.
Oh, she's so good at drawing.
I knew right away that I wanted to go the Star Trek route. You know, where they say it's an alien, but it's really just a human with minor cosmetic changes.
So cute and bubbly design.
Alien on the channel, I want something classic, a little retro even. And it doesn't get more classic than a little green alien.
It's Juno! Oh, I stole the character design! Nah. I think it's legally distinct.
I believe this Ever After High doll is
This did come out before Juno, though, I would like to mention.
the perfect candidate. She's got a round head, short torso, and is in desperate need of a glow-up. Ugh. This doll is very dirty.
That's Apple White from Ever After High, and because she has that black thing, I believe she's from the Twisted Wonderline series of dolls. Anyway,
Take her to the
I know way too much about dolls that I don't own.
There's a lot of big modifications to get through today, so I'm going to skip the basics. Feel free to pause if you need. Let's begin by chopping up nearly every part of the doll. Apple White here is pretty tall, but
Doll serial killer.
shortening the legs isn't enough. I want her whole stature to be condensed, which means taking length out of the torso, upper arms, and forearms. The legs, we'll be making new ones from scratch. Now to reconnect the
Pretty gruesome, but you know.
simply drill through or into the plastic piece
Luckily, they ain't alive.
and sew everything back together with a jewelry wire. When changing a body shape so dramatically like this, it's useful to keep a couple measurements in mind. Roughly speaking, the elbows should line up with the waist, and the wrists should align with the crotch when the arms are in a resting position. Now for her legs. I took the time to
It is
draw
alive!
a 2-scale schematic. It makes
I know, I mean, I'm also doing something that's kind of gruesome. It's just like a weird wire skeleton at this point. This is also kind of slow going, because I gotta just make sure I'm not fucking it up.
at first, but having the plan in front of you is very helpful for sculpting and keeps you on track with more accuracy. Tongue depressors will form new joints, and I'll use these thick bolts and nuts to make the articulation. To create thicker joints that match my drawing,
Stab
I
it.
stack and glue the tongue depressors together, 4 on top, 2 sets of 2 on bottom. If you're not sure what size materials you'll need, I suggest taking your schematic to the store and finding the best fit in person. That's how I found the perfect sized bolts and nuts.
She's gonna make her all new joints.
Together, I take my largest drill bit and drill holes through the rounded ends.
I like the music she chose.
Next, we cut them down to size. Then we use the same techniques to connect our wooden frame to the doll, drilling holes and sewing it together. Connect the parts and see how things line up on top of your drawing. Before anything is too permanent is the perfect time to make changes, trimming up a bit here or twisting the wire there. Let's move on to the first pass of epoxy sculpt. I fill in the obvious gaps and provide a strong bond between pieces in this rough and tumble first pass. Now what I usually do when making leg joints like this is to completely cover the exterior nut piece with epoxy, making it stationary, and lay a snake of material around the inner bolt head, making it hidden but accessible for tightening later on. These bolts don't have screwable heads. I'll come up with something later. Alright, first pass complete. It looks very strange right now, I know. The early stages of doll customizing always
What a freaky little creature, huh?
No, we're going to do something very odd and sew her clothes on at this stage. Seems out of order, but this was the best solution parts, and since I plan on making those robotic parts sculpted on and permanent, well, the clothes must go on first. I rough out a basic two-piece pattern for the custom.
It's interesting. One thing about doll customizing that is interesting is sort of the difference between playable dolls and art dolls, because a lot of the times when you have a doll that's more so for like play and customization, you want it to have like removable pieces, and then art dolls are often completely stationary, like they'll be glued to their stand and they can't move at all. They're in one specific pose. And like play dolls, you know, you can move her arms and stuff, and you can move her head, and they've got those joints and that articulation. And then art dolls will sometimes be just completely immobile, and it's interesting to see those different techniques, you know. And it's not to say that either one is like better or worse than the other. They're both just different and interesting.
Some body shape. Wrong sides together, sew around the edges, leaving the neck, arm, and leg holes open. Clip the curves and turn it inside out. And flip it over the body.
Yeah,
I made it too large on purpose.
I do prefer moving dolls myself because I like posing them and having cute things. But, you know, with like some that are more sculpture-esque, it can be, if they were moving, it would break the sculpture, it would break the paints. Like, that's one of the things that has come up when, in her videos, I don't know if it'll come up in this one, but often these like wrist joints and things, you need to like dye them. If you paint something on any of the joints, it's gonna come off if you move it over time. So, especially if you have like a really intricate paint job, that sort of thing is important to keep in mind, of like what kind of, how much your doll will be moving, and if you want to dye it or not.
I had this crazy idea to insert stuffing under the clothes to pad out her body shape. Instead of sculpting larger thighs and arms, the stuffing can do that for me, and even better, look more realistic, thanks to its squishy and bouncy nature. I did try to clump stuffing together in places to slightly control the shape, like on her tummy and her little butt cheeks. Once I'm happy with the stuffing, I zip up the back seam. Lastly, I seal all exits with glue to ensure the stuffing can't escape. And there we go. Pretty cool effect, right? We basically used the plastic body as a posable skeleton and added a fleshy, realistic layer of fat on top, contained by the fabric. Mask the fabric off with a strip of cling wrap to protect it from what's to come, and now we can really dive into the sculpting phase. Lay down a sheet of vinyl over your drawing to make things easier and cleaner, and get mixing. This second pass was pretty tricky. It's not easy sculpting on top of what's essentially a pillow. The epoxy wanted to bounce off and flex outwards, but I did my best. We're not going into detail yet, only blocking out the biggest curves and shapes of each segment. Her hands get some changes too. I'm giving our little green alien only 3 fingers.
3 fingers.
This seems like a good time to mention that I sculpted an antenna and 2 ears for the head. We'll set these parts aside for now and get back to them later in the video.
You're in the doubting phase. Yeah, me too.
6 hours, depending on the temperature of the room.
This one's gonna take some time, I think.
This stuff
Oh no.
is whittled, carved, drilled through, or sanded. I love this stuff. So each pass with epoxy goes through the same steps. Sculpt, wait to cure, carve, sand, and fine-tune. Sculpt, wait to cure, carve, sand, fine-tune. Sculpt, wait to cure, carve, wait, sand, fine-tune. Sculpt, wait to cure, carve, wait, sand, fine-tune. Sculpt, wait, sculpt, wait, fine-tune. Oh hey, I finally came up with a solution to the bolt head problem. Lay down a temporary paper disc over the opening and screw in the bolt. Then fully encase the bolt head with epoxy, making sure to snug it up nice and close around the bolt head. Basically, we just enlarged the bolt head to make it look like our design. Simple. Basic shapes are now filled in. If you're wondering why there's only one video up this month, it's because I had to take care of some more urgent, non-doll related business for a while, so it took me 2 full weeks just to reach this stage.
Do you know this woman is married and has the 2 children now? I'll wish her the best in her life. But she still is making videos even though she has kids, and I'm like, how? Do not they take all of your attention and time?
Yes. But at last, we can sculpt the fun details. Although difficult to see because epoxy is all the same gray color, I roll out snakes of clay and lay them down around the edges, and squish out flat sheets of the stuff to form the multi-layered plates in her design. I fine-tune the edge while it's still wet by cutting it off clean with a razor. Taking each piece one at a time was a wise choice. Although it slows down the process because you gotta wait for each section to cure before starting the next, the last thing you want to do is be working on one leg only to realize you accidentally grabbed and squished the sculpting on the other leg. So take it nice and slow. Particularly with hard surface sculpting like this, that is to say mechanical, inorganic shapes, slow and steady was the only way to approach this. It took a lot more concentration and fine-tuning to achieve a machine-made look. That said, I'm only human and not the most talented sculptor in the world, so she's not completely symmetrical and some parts are a bit wobbly looking. But I'm still pretty proud of this. My sculpting ability definitely leveled up thanks to this project.
It became detached.
And now we stand, hopefully for the final time.
I don't know when exactly it happened. A lot of these are older videos. When did this one come out? 3 years ago. Yeah, this one's 3 years old. So, it's been a minute. I don't know if she had kids at this point, but
Is she missing some parts? Why, yes.
she is currently.
I called in for backup, aka Hubby Lightful, and he digitally sculpted and printed out.
Oh yeah, she was married at this point. She's been, well, I don't know if she was married. She's probably married if she's calling him hubby, but she's been with him for a minute. She lives in Korea, where her husband is native too, which is why she'll often say "annyeong" at the beginning of her videos, because she is living in Korea full time, and that's the Korean way of saying hello. I'm putting this in backwards. What am I doing? I wonder it's not working. Why isn't it working? You're doing it backwards. Back.
Her communicator and her backpack, as well as several components of the helmet, which we'll address now. So, how does one go about making a tiny astronaut helmet? Well, you need something round and clear, which isn't as hard to come by as you might think. Check out this packaging I found in the local recycle bin.
Recycling!
Could work. But I decided to purchase these acrylic hemispheres from a locally manufactured craft supply shop. They came in a range of sizes, but I'll be using the 7cm diameter sphere for our ever after high doll head.
Not gay, Yui.
I just wanted to show that specialized materials probably...
I think that's maybe an assumption I shouldn't. I'm pretty sure Hextian's gay. I think I've heard that at some point. But then again, he is also a man, so he don't care about me.
Probably are worth seeking out for a higher quality end product, but finding a free alternative is always possible. Y'all know I live that thrifty lifestyle. We'll need to cut and carve the plexiglass at several key points. First being...
Oh my god, I was watching a video of someone who was like, I made this art with recycled soda cans. And they were like, why bother using soda cans? That's so dumb. And they were like, because they're fucking cheap. It would cost me like $50 to get this much flat aluminum. The soda cans cost me way less. They're even free in some cases if you're not the one buying the soda, if you're just rummaging through the garbage bins. Like, people are like, it's a waste anyways. And it's like, but guess what? It doesn't cost as much money, which is the important part.
Use the opening of a spray bottle to trace a perfect circle onto the hemispheres. And now to carve it. Somehow. I've never cut plexiglass, so I went at it with a drill to see what would happen. It crashed, that's what happened. That's what I get for diving in head first. Only after this misfortune did I Google how to drill through plexiglass. Well, the internet recommends throwing your drill in reverse and essentially heating up and melting through the plexiglass to create a hole. This worked much better. I figure if heat is the key to cutting plexiglass, that's what I'll use on my sculpting tools. It was a slow go, but I did manage to melt through / carve off tiny chunks of the hemisphere until I widened the hole big enough. Yes, I'm still using the damaged piece. It can be the back of her helmet. Not bad. Now I need to cut 2 holes in the front visor for the antenna to
I don't know.
extrude.
It's kind of
I
thick
lined
legs,
things up
but
best I could and marked the plastic.
I'm gonna start
Then,
working on the
using a
other one.
string attached
I
to
can
our
come
only
back to it, I
reliable
guess.
point of reference on the sphere, the neck hole, I mark and measure the dots to ensure they are precisely level with each other. Center the dot inside the antenna covers and trace. Great, now we can cut these out as well. Say a small prayer asking for the plexiglass to please not crack, and reverse drill those holes. An hour or so of heating up tools and carving later, it's done. Being careful not to scratch the smooth surface, I clean up the edges of the cut with sandpaper. Now to assemble the resin parts. I figure the strongest way to do this would be to drill through the helmet in 3 places and screw them together. I use a heated awl this time to stab tiny holes through the acrylic. But thankfully I could just drill through the resin. Screw them together and that looks so legit! Yes!
Looks
The
badass.
resin piece has 2 magnets placed in front on either side, here and here. This is how the visor will set in place without falling off. So that means carving out indentions and placing magnets inside the front section of the helmet to match. To get an accurate placement, I use sticky tack like so, and drill backwards into the acrylic again, but not all the way through. Just enough to set the magnets in place with glue and a fabric cover. These 4 magnets at the base of the helmet function pretty well, but for an even better seal I added 2 more tiny magnets on top. I tried to plan ahead to make the most efficient design, but this was more of a try it and see what sticks approach. Thankfully, through trial and error, we still ended up with a functioning, removable helmet.
True, it is a ring
With
light.
all the many, many pieces of this doll fully formed and sculpted, we can finally head outside to the spray booth station. Hubby here is going to use his magic touch with the airbrush to coat each piece with primer first, and then several coats of white. If you're curious about what paints or any material we've used in this video, check the description box below for a comprehensive list. They look good, don't they? I've been staring at that icky green-gray epoxy color for so long, seeing the doll in white is like a breath of fresh air. The next step is adding color. I'll be using my good old acrylic paints and a tracing paper palette. Just as with the sculpting stage, it took extra concentration to paint as robotically as I could, keeping edges crisp and clean and manufactured looking. Some people might wonder why we didn't mask off sections of the doll and airbrush everything instead of hand painting it. Well, to be honest, it's because I really hate masking. I think it wastes a lot of tape, and I hate generating trash when I craft. This doll has already produced more waste than my usual projects, so I figure I'll just paint really carefully. Thanks to
Yeah,
the
he's
primer and the
poking
white
out on
paint,
the
the color took
side.
very fast. I only needed 2 thin coats per color.
Put it together.
Her
No.
hot pink chest plate and helmet get a coating of fluorescent magenta paint. It's so bright and
No.
punchy. I love it. There's probably a real reason astronaut gear tends to be boring and white, but if I were an astronaut, I'd be like, does it come in hot pink though? And let's not forget her skin. Bright Martian green, please. Oh no. The first watery layer on the face just makes her look sick, doesn't it? Everything's painted! Yay! So we head to the spray booth once again to coat everything in 2 or 3 layers of varnish to protect the bright colors and keep the acrylic paint from chipping off. But what about the visor? It's tinted dark purple in my concept art, so how are we going to achieve that? Well, I found a great tutorial by Tresha J.A. where she uses food coloring and Mod Podge to tint plastic. They don't sell Mod Podge here in Korea, so I made do with some kind of PVA glue instead. Well, there's only one way to find out. I mix up my glue, water, and purple food coloring in a cup, then pour the mixture into the hemisphere. I wiggle it around until all the sides are coated and set it aside to dry. I check back in 30 minutes later to find gaps forming in the glue, and what's that? Cat hair? I won't stand for this. For better or for worse, I removed both the cat hair and took a damp paintbrush and tried to fill in the patches. I hope I don't regret this. After setting it up on a much more ventilated platform, it dried quicker, and here's the result. Not awful. I think I could have used more food
Jeez.
coloring. The effect
In
is
the
very
lowers.
subtle. Unfortunately, there's a defect right in front here, and the distribution of color isn't completely even. It actually looks pretty cute looking at the footage now, but I end up changing my mind later and completely washing out the tinting.
Actually, what happens to I brush on a layer of shiny varnish real quick right off camera and it ruined the tinting so bad that I had no choice but to scrape it out entirely. But we don't have time to talk about all the mistakes I made at the stall too. So many mistakes, you guys. Poor thing.
Let's give her her face.
Sometimes you do fuck up, but it's okay.
After a spray of Mr. Super Clear sealant, I brush on dark green pastel pigments around the eyes and nose.
I think I just gotta embrace that this one will take a while.
Pencil to sketch the eyes. Just like my drawing, I wanted to have large, almost spooky-looking, wide alien eyes, so I'm overdrawing past the facial mold's eye indention. I rough out the pupils and eyebrows and give her layer number 2 of sealant. Because I'm happy with the base drawing, I dive right in with the darker colors and start building up contrast. It's a relatively simple face this time, big, solid, cartoony shapes without much detail. What do you guys think about the blue-colored eye whites? I think it's just weird enough to come across as alien, but not too freaky looking. Time for layer number 3. To achieve opaque colors faster, I switch over to gouache paints to move things along.
I'm a stab from all angles.
Materials once again, and use that neon magenta acrylic paint color to get that fluorescent pop of pink to match her outfit. I love how insanely bright
So
this
cute.
makeup is. She looks like something you'd see at a laser tag event. For finishing touches, I add 2 sparkly eye shines, which helps her look a little less insane, and use white gouache for subtle highlights. Final coat of sealant.
Painting
And then
is
add high gloss
fun.
varnish to her shiny lips and eyes.
Shows how goddamn talented she is. Ugh, jealous.
I heat up the base of her head with a hairdryer to make sure the vinyl is soft and squishy before squeezing it back on over the neck. This part is always scary if you've completed the face up because squishing the head too much will crack the sealant. So be gentle and squeeze the temples as you twist. Now for hair. Using Mozekito's yarn hair technique, I prepare the wefts. She's got 3 buns and bangs, so we need to glue the hair on in the right order and the right direction to achieve this style.
Legs.
I start off with the bangs.
Weird hairy shorts. My fingers so sore.
And now it's daytime. Well
I
done.
played
with the
too much
continuity there,
Atomic
Catherine.
Crops. My fingers
I
hurt.
put a circle around the pink area, gluing wefts on facing the seemingly wrong direction, out of the pink. Geez, this shot is a disaster. Sorry guys, I'm still getting accustomed to the new studio. Using an iron to heat up silverware, I grab, fold over, and press each weft back in the right direction. As you can see, this gives us a beautiful clean edge, and I must admit, I kind of like the hair just like this. I repeat these steps for each color.
Bitty.
Now, the original buns and all. So I simply tied the hair into ponytails and gave her the space buns like normal. Bit of a wasted effort there.
Could attach something else to her head.
What about the antenna and ears, though? Well, I was feeling ambitious and had my heart set on making these parts flexible and squishy. Big thank you to my SFX makeup artist friend Matt for the advice on silicone mold casting. I couldn't have done this without him. So, those clay pieces I made ages ago, they'll be used to make the negatives. We position them hanging upside down, suspended above 2 containers.
She literally was like, I'm just gonna learn how silicone molds work. And then did it, and it works. And it's like, you were so impressive. How do you do that?
Following the directions on the silicone containers, hubby pours and mixes part A and B. Then we fill them up. Oh, it's blobbing all over the place. Ooh. Once cured, I tear away the container, and there are a couple red flags already. For some reason, the silicone is soft and squishy in some areas, but firm in others. Perhaps we didn't mix it
it's
thoroughly
crazy.
enough. I cut the mold open down the length of the antenna and remove the clay positive. I separate the ears and simply cut and remove them from the top since they're a shorter shape. This step's important, the barrier coat, also known as mold release. Without this, your silicone cast will be irremovable from the mold, so spray thoroughly. Using the same silicone, we mix in color this time, then pour it in. Do you think it's going all the way in?
I'm not sure. Come on, Slurm.
Ooh.
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 Cute.
So, how'd they do? Well, digging them out of the mold was not easy. We are amateurs at this, so it's foolish to expect perfect results, I guess. I had to destroy the mold and snip away silicone, but in the end, decent, I'd say. With a little cleaning up, I think they're usable. I'll have to recast and re-pour one more antenna, though. And what do you know, try number 2 was a big improvement. There's no teacher like experience. The silicone wasn't the same green as
She's
the
looking
acrylic
sorta
paint I used
body-like.
for her face, so I decided to try a gradient fill with acrylics to smooth the transition. Let me tell you, silicone does not like being painted on. And unfortunately, the paint highlighted the many flaws and defects of the cast. Oops. Nonetheless, with a touch of glue and a couple more pins, I secure the ears and antennas to the head.
I feel like that was thinner than the rest of them.
And how cute is that? They're so bouncy and springy and exactly how I envisioned them. I'm so happy. Being flexible like this will also help her put on the helmet, of course. If you look up real close, it is kind of icky, so, you know, just back up a bit and look at her from afar, yeah? And now for the part you've been waiting for, assembling all the components. Because I enjoy biting off more than I can chew, apparently, I also sculpted and cast custom-sized resin gems for the outfit.
I feel like that's kind of the mark of artistry, though, is you don't get good at art by, like, doing what you know and not trying anything new. You get good at art by doing new and exciting shit and throwing yourself in, even if you have no idea what the fuck you're doing, which is what I'm doing right now!
Heck yes, that looks great.
It's all fucking happening!
Finishing touches. And by Jove, the doll is finished at last.
Oh, it's so cute. Life is art.
Time for the photo shoot.
don't know, sing a sad emo song. Oh, this sigh, poor girl.
I repaired and repainted the broken pieces and constructed an entirely new helmet visor from another 7cm hemisphere, which we had to order again. And I made her this customized stand, shortened to fit her stature and weighed down.
Because the stand didn't hold her right.
Also, at the last minute,
The stand probably just went because she was very heavy. And because, I mean, she's made of, especially because she's got a lot of epoxy on her, that is generally heavier than the plastic dolls are generally made of.
Enchantarium designed us this adorable team emblem, which each of our crew members wears with pride. And now she's done. Again. For the second time. Say hello to Communications Officer BB Bubbles.
BB Bubbles! Such a cute name.
BB works aboard Starship DD, which, as you may be able to deduct, are the initials of all the YouTube channels involved in this collaboration. But I imagine DD can stand for something else as well. How about deep space extraterrestrial doll exploration?
Cute. This arm is having issues.
Some of you may be wondering why we didn't 3D print more pieces of this doll. They would have certainly been more accurate, symmetrical, and lightweight. It's probably because I'm so stubborn. I want to prove that I can do it myself, old school style with just clay and my 2 hands, dang it. But yeah, she likely would look a lot more professional.
I think she looks fucking great.
There's no denying it.
You've never dropped anything in your entire life? Wow. God amongst men. Brag about it.
As for the magnets inside her head that ended up serving no purpose, I figure that can be part of her mythos instead. You know, like maybe her species evolved magnetic skulls for some reason.
Look! And then you get to see all the other dolls from the other channels.
There are 3 other.
Ah! They're so cute! Oh, they all look so cool. They have such different styles, and they're all so beautiful. Ah, I love it. She's so little! She's so little! I'm pointing at the screen like that means anything to you.
Other crew members aboard the DD alien ship, the medical officer, the engineer, and the botanist. Each created by one of my incredibly talented friends.
Like, look at the cowgirl with her fabulous hair, and this one on the far side with her face up is amazing, and this one with all of the, like, multiple arms and, like, insecty stuff. Oh, they're all so good.
Over to their channels next to catch their videos.
Do you know doll artists are impressive? Ugh.
Look at the end, and you'll find them in the description box as well.
So cute. Ah!
What does the future hold for our eclectic squad of space explorers? Only they know for sure. But one thing's certain: galactic adventure awaits.
Yay!
Ahead.
Oh my god, adorable.
Thank you so much for watching. Stay artsy. Annyeong.
Adorable. So cute. I want to watch this.
이 video best speedrunning by its plumber guy.
By now, you probably know what a speedrun is already. It's where players commit to beating a game as fast as possible. On the surface, it's a bit silly. People sitting down with one game, playing it over and over, dedicating immense time and effort to ins and outs and learning skills
Found the
that
end.
probably aren't all that helpful anywhere else. And yet, Somehow,
at
the
that.
experience of taking part in or even watching
Just got
someone
a little
try
bit
to
coming out the milk. You
speedrun
can't even
games
see it that
is
well.
exhilarating and amazing.
Excuse
and
you,
just
go back in your
fun.
box.
And speedruns of some games frequently get millions of views. This clearly matters to a lot of people. So there's probably a reason why, and I was having trouble scratching at the reasons why, so I arrived at the obvious solution of writing a YouTube video about it. Speedrunning is really fun to watch, and stories about speedrunning are consistently fascinating, and I really want to talk about why. And no one's managed to stop me so far.
No one's managed to stop me so far.
It's generally accepted that the Souls series is pretty difficult, and they are, at least for beginners, because the games are generally not great at teaching you how to really grasp.
So the idea is we're gonna put some of this for the base, and then put more brown on top. So I know it's gonna look weird that her head is a different color than the rest of her.
Playing them. I've heard there's already a video out there somewhere that drones on and on for way too long trying to explain this, so we'll ignore that here. This difficulty is the prime reason why speedruns of games in this series are so entertaining to watch. Owing to the game's inaccessibility and the time investment required to get good, as it were, watching someone blast through them is just plain fun. What's interesting in a more in-depth way about speedruns, though, is seeing how they develop over time, and Dark Souls is a perfect example of why. Part 1. Development. The earliest speedrun on record at speedruns.com, a fantastic resource by the way, for Dark Souls, is by Japanese runner Twilight. In 2011, a lot less was known about how Dark Souls really ticked, and there was yet to be much of a community to help pick away at all the possible fastest approaches to the game. So Twilight's run consists largely of combining general tricks that were widely known early on for making the game easier or faster. For example, in Dark Souls, there are multiple different starting classes with their own stats, and abilities. While some do have...
I explained it. I'm gonna put brown on the outside. I want to use this so I don't use up all my brown. This is the base shape because the head is a lot bigger than the rest of it. So I want to make the head this, and then I'll put the brown on top of the head. Is that a dumb idea? I don't know. Maybe it's a dumb idea. I'm doing it anyway!
The advantage is the Pyromancer starts with the ability to throw fireballs, something none of the others can access for quite a while, so it's usually the one recommended to new players. Because if they're having trouble fighting, they can throw fire on people. I mean, come on. So Twilight picks them. It's not really a surprise. It's kind of the obvious choice if you were to think about how to speedrun this game if you played it a few times. The next big choice is the starting gift. Players can choose something extra to start the
Art is about
game
failing.
character creation. Normally in Dark Souls, early on to continue deeper into the game, players have to go through a fairly tough area, fight a difficult boss to get a key to another difficult area, then fight another boss there to progress through to another difficult area called White Town, which leads down to another boss which is guarding a bell you need to ring to progress the game. But for reasons, the developers made one of the starting items players can choose from a key that unlocks a gate in the starting area which skips past two of those bosses right into the lower part of Blight Town. So it's pretty clear what item of speedrunners want to start with here.
It went right through the
It's just
glove,
most
Jesus.
Obviously fast and helpful choice.
Rude.
I mean, look at the other ones. Binoculars, a rubbish ring, a more rubbish ring, pendant, trinkets, no effects, black firebombs. What a garbage option. Why would anyone ever pick that? I don't know. I guess
I played Sekiro and hated it.
An STD bomb. What? Another initially obvious trick for speedrunning involves this Drake that turns
My
up
finger
early on and hangs out
hurts.
up
It went
here.
through
Getting a decent
I was wearing my gloves and it still stabbed me and it didn't feel good.
weapon in this game usually takes some time. But once
Also, Soul games are on the PS whatever the fuck. I don't have consoles.
to this big scary boy, one recommended way for new players to get an advantage so they don't have too hard a time starting out is to sit in a safe place and spam arrows at its tail until it breaks off, giving you this sword. The Drake sword deals a ridiculous amount of damage for the place in the game where you can get it. It drops off in its usefulness quite quickly, but for early players it's just a fantastic weapon to pick up. But instead of wasting time and arrows, of which they had neither, Twilight simply dodged behind it when it jumped down and cut its tail off and then ran to the next area. This is one of the most cathartic things you can see in a speedrun. You know, you spend a bunch of time dying to its fire or getting kicked to death, and then you see someone else just steal its tail and run away with it and proceed to beat people to death with it for the rest of the game. It's great. A lot of Twilight's early run consists of playing the game the way one normally would, but just doing more running and ignoring enemies. Early runs like this play the game basically as normal, but very quickly and precisely doing the most obviously easy and fast moves. Twilight burns all the remaining bosses with their hot hands, and grabs enough humanity that they can feed it to the Daughter of Chaos and open a shortcut past all the major fire-based
I don't want it.
obviously would take a long
I like
time
playing
to
easy
fight
video
the
games.
weapons of fire. Have you ever tried actually fighting fire with fire? I'm on a watch list now. After
I'm on a
month of
watch
running
list
past
now.
things and killing bosses, they gather the 4 Lord Souls required to open the big door to the remnants of Great Uncle Gwyn's Mega Weekend Barbecue and kill him so someone can finally call the fire department, and they do it in 1 hour and 26 minutes in in-game time. This is an ungodly fast speed to finish Dark Souls, but there was a lot of improvement to make. What I think is interesting about the early runs through the game is that they weren't just improving on execution of the same route or finding slightly more improved paths, but the nature of the entire route from the very start was still up for debate. Nothing was set in stone, even what type of character you chose to play as, and it wasn't clear what the fastest way would really be, and that's a really fun experimental period in the development of a speedrun. This is where Dark Souls runs excel in the spectatorship aspect.
Her head looks
In
like
lots
a
of other games, you
potato.
don't have as much choice or freedom in where to go or what sort of character to play or what weapon to use. There are so many other paths or decisions that could have been made in a Souls game that the next run threatens to be completely different. And, well, it was. The next world record was set 3 months later and has gone on to be the longest standing world record, lasting 13 months. It was set...
What do you mean they're harder than Dark Souls? I find that hard to believe. You point one out. And it's also a 3D game. I just don't like 3D games. I like 2D games. I don't know. I have silly opinions.
by another Japanese runner, Keita. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. And it's elongated to Keita. Alright, what's really fun about this run was it diverged from Twilight's path immediately. Not only do they start the game with a different class right out of the gate, but once they make it to Firelink Shrine and you assume their run is going to be similar looking but with slight improvements, they get up and immediately head in the opposite direction. Goes to parts of the game Twilight never even sees in their run. Firstly, they go to the Valley of Drakes, dodge between the drakes, and grab the red Tearstone ring, which boosts the player's damage output by roughly 66% when they're below 20% health. By playing more riskily, Keita becomes much more dangerous. This is the kind of improvement I love seeing in speedruns, learning to abuse a risk-reward mechanic to just get the rewards by simply playing really well. In a speedrun, a risk-reward item can very frequently become a reward. Then they run into Darkroot Basin and encounter the Black Knight there. Now, Black Knights are tough enemies in the early game. They don't take much damage even when you riposte or backstab them. You can see this is going to take quite... Oh, he's pushed him off the cliff.
Oh, he's pushed him off the cliff.
Black Knight Halberd. You only get this weapon for killing the knight like 20% of the time, and these knights don't respawn. This halberd forms the basis of Keita's strategy, so if they don't get the halberd here, they would have to start the run again. There are definitely countless runs on the cutting room floor that ended here just because. You can slightly increase the chance of it dropping if you have more humanity on you, but it's still like a crapshoot. Now, there's a reason the last thing you fight before the final boss is a Black Knight with a halberd. Gwyn knew what was up. This weapon absolutely mashes most enemies and bosses. Then they just keep going and run all the way around to the Darkroot Basin entrance to the Undead Parish, skipping several areas completely. After beating the gargoyles with a regular old axe, they use the souls they've gained to level up enough to equip the halberd, which they can now just about wield if they two-hand it. Keita had precisely figured out the most efficient way to get the souls they needed to use this weapon as early as possible. This means they're able to utterly destroy the fire bosses that Twilight had to skip completely because of their weapons. It's literally faster for Keita to run through all this and kill all these bosses than it is to gather the materials required to just skip them. Overall, Keita saved 15 entire minutes over Twilight while killing more bosses. Most of the current record holders in Dark Souls use this basic strategy now, but they've saved even more time by discovering new holes in the game to exploit, like by messing with the camera system in particular.
Went for the fucking seam. What is the point of you? Ow. Went like that. Stab my finger. Hot. Ow. Fucking useless. Yeah, there was blood. I think it might have stopped. You still bleeding? Yeah, maybe. Tiny bit. No, I have not played Terraria before. Ow! God damn it. This stream, I got this girly out of her box, which was a very beautiful process, and I watched a delightful video, and now I'm watching this video, and I'm also stabbing myself!
Go out of bounds
Annoyed.
and descends fortress early. They've improved the strategy so much that they don't even use the master key anymore. Instead, they use black fire bombs to... Oh no.
Black fire bombs?
What's a garbage option? Why would anyone ever pick that? I just shouldn't be allowed to talk about Dark Souls anymore. Someone should just fucking come and stop me before I make another fucking idiot of myself. Could someone please stop me talking about Dark Souls? This just goes to show how much a run can develop. The once really obvious main
Okay,
choices
fine.
of Pyromancer, Master Key, and Drakesword have all
Hygiene, I don't need that shit. Wah. There you go. That's not concerning at all. Oh, I guess it might have looked like Terraria. It ain't. Sorry. Okay, I soaked and watered it. Where is it? Fucking Google stupid needle protection that actually works. I wonder how hard it would be to make one of these myself. Can I flip you inside out? I know it was sewn originally inside out. How tight are your stitches? Bet I could get them tighter. Bitch. Come on, flip inside out. Is this looking appropriate? Probably. Come on, you little shit! I'm examining you. Whoo! This is why I don't work with leather, because it's fucking annoying. Yeah, I can't see shit in there. I give up. Okay, on reverse. Ah, that was the wrong one. Sorry.
turn been superseded. The creation and development
It's already broken.
Really fun to watch, but in a way that's hard to describe. It's a kind of logistical fun.
Logistical fun?
Fun? That doesn't sound like a kind of fun. It reminds me of the feeling I got when I had my GPS and it told me to take a route through a park that I knew really well. And I was like, nah, I can go through that faster. And I walked a different route and I got through it faster. I just felt amazing. It's a bit like the feeling I got when I decided I was going to do my taxes 8 months early. Have you ever done your taxes early?
Dog!
Speedrunning is for you! Welcome, friends! What? I have a script for this bit, but I forgot all the words. Part 2, categorization and arbitrarian. No one I showed the script suggested better titles, so I'm just gonna have to go with these ones. Now, I have to admit, I've so far deliberately not mentioned something about the Dark Souls run. The progression I described is actually only one of several different categories of run through the game, one known as any % no wrong warp. Like I said before, most of the normal run is spent killing all the major bosses to get the Lord Souls to unlock the big door, which is why it was kind of a big deal when players figured out a way to teleport right here on the other side of the door without having to open it. The game's DLC added an arena where players could fight each other online.
Swang into tomorrow.
After beating Artorias, who incidentally was my favourite boss fight in the series until Bloodborne's DLC came out, you gain access to the Battle of Stoicism gazebo, which presumably sounds better in Japanese. When they join the arena, through the gazebo, players receive a purple coward's crystal, which they can use to quit a fight and teleport back to the entrance. It does this by telling the game to move you to a certain map and position, the map being the main DLC area, and the position being the entrance to the arena. Now, there are other items in the game which work similarly, like the Homeward Bonio or the Dark Sign. They tell the game to take you to the map where you last rested at a bonfire and the position of that bonfire. So, let's say you last rested at the bonfire in front of the big door. Barring specific circumstances, using one of these two items will take you back here. Now, you can't normally use the purple coward's crystal outside of the arena. It's grayed out. Trying to use it makes your character have a panic attack and think about all the times they said you too when a waiter told them to enjoy their food. But there's a glitch that allows players to use items even when they're not intended to, by trying to use it, switching to an item they can use like the Estus flask while holding down the use button still, running off an edge while toggling weapons, and pressing the use button again on an exact
So
frame,
complicated.
causing the player to drink the item along with the flask, which uses it even if you're not supposed to be able to. What a handy item! You can visit the gazebo whenever you like! But here's the thing, using the crystal in the main game has a fancy long animation where you can't do anything as the game fades to a loading screen. But when you use it this way, you can still walk around and use items before it fades. So, what if we used another item that teleports us while this other effect was going off? Well, to put it simply, the game gets confused. It tries to load you to the map of the last used bonfire, which in our case is the bonfire before the big door, which we cleverly napped at before coming here, but the position of the arena entrance. The arena entrance the game is looking for doesn't exist in this map though, so instead it takes you to the pre-programmed default position in the level, and it turns out that the default position for this area is inside the kiln of the first flame. So now, all players need to do to beat the game is gain access to this bonfire and the DLC battle arenas, and then they can warp directly to the last area. Oh, and also they have to perform an absurdly precise set of inputs with barely
Here we go.
lenience. Seriously, it's really hard. Getting this footage alone took me like 25 minutes. But if you can execute this consistently, which speedrunners are really good at learning to do, this method saves
Now
a
we
lot
will
of
brown
time.
her.
However, it was decided by the community to be so different from the other runs, since you have to both own the DLC and abuse a pretty major glitch, that all runs prior to the discovery of this glitch and after the discovery but which don't use it should be split off into their own separate category. At this point, the Dark Souls speedrun community has split the game into at least 14 different categories, ranging from extra difficult challenges such as killing all the bosses, or completing the entire game without leveling up, to absurdist challenges like completing the game after collecting one of every ring item in the game. The Lord of the Rings run. That's a clever name. This kind of separation of a run into distinct categories also happened in Bloodborne. When the game was initially released, a glitch in some of the architecture for the game was discovered, resulting in the player being able to leap off at an angle from a coffin and get onto a raised section of wall, then do an attack at another part of the wall to clip through, skipping a whole bunch of the game. For example, the fight with Gasguagni, and leading to the creation of a route which, supplemented by other tricks, would eventually only take about 20 minutes. Which is utterly absurd. However,
Her head is very
Bloodborne was
rotatable.
patched after release, making lots of changes and fixes, including that error in the architecture, and also incidentally much better load times. This makes this run impossible to do on a properly patched version of the game. It also means the version of the game you would play today on an online PS4 would be unable to do the fastest speedruns, which puts you at a pretty major disadvantage. The solution was for new categories to be created, so runners could run the original version of the game if they wanted, but runners could also compete using the current patch. The current fastest patched run of the game is slower by 8 minutes, although incidentally, because of the massive fixes to load times, despite the in-game timer telling you it's almost 8 minutes slower, it's a minute faster to watch in real time. Bloodborne was messed up when it came out, wasn't it? Bloodborne's a really interesting game to run as well in general for a lot of reasons, one of them being the Beast Blood Pellet, which adds a meter filled by dealing certain types of damage, and the higher the meter, the more damage the player both deals and receives. It's a bit risk-reward in normal play, but it's a godsend for speedrunners, and in some ways it makes the game easier for speedrunners by specifically rewarding fast play. The diverging any percent categories in these games raises interesting questions about the hobby. In games with multiple categories, which one is the real speedrun? Why are some glitches and tricks permitted and others not? Shouldn't the goal be to create the fastest singular run and agree on one standard set of rules for what the speedrun should be? And how does one decide when something is allowed and when something should be a separate category or banned? Well, it depends on both the game and its community. A game that's impacted by these questions in a big way is Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge is a game very close to my heart, to the point that I've speedrun it before as well. If I'd bothered to submit the run to speedruns.com, I'd officially be in 201st place. The thing about Mirror's Edge is, it's a game about moving very quickly. The player character is very mobile, has a diverse set of moves across surfaces and for picking up speed, and different ways of jumping onto, off of, and across things. There are also a lot of little ways the mechanics can be manipulated to go even faster. This makes it an ideal speed
No
game.
matches.
This runner just executed a trick so quickly at the beginning that you probably didn't even see it. Right as they loaded in, they turned to the side and did a side hop, which immediately gets them up to top speed. This is one of my favorite tricks right here. Normally this pole, like, you have to slowly do a balancing act as you walk across it.
You're taking your sweet old time.
Runners have reached the point where they leap onto it in a straight line and don't fall off, and then turn and do another jump off of it, so they never have to do it. It's incredible. Playing Mirror's Edge as fast as you can and then going online and checking out a speedrun is a really fun experience. There are so many nuances and specifics to the game's level designs and movement mechanics that it's just a joy to see how much extra speed can be teased out. But the game's parkour focus and aesthetic also poses a question for runners. What does it mean to speedrun Mirror's Edge? There's a variety of interesting glitches available to exploit if you want to beat Mirror's Edge as fast as possible, but some of them significantly impact the way the game is played and what the experience of watching it is like. Take for example the out of bounds glitch, or oob. Plenty of games let you get oob of the level and use this to get to places meant to be reached through slower or harder means. This can be used very egregiously to bypass large chunks of several levels, and this is technically much faster than playing the game the normal way. But it also runs counter to the sort of principles that make Mirror's Edge the game you'd want to see speedrun in the first place, doesn't it? It's a game all about motion, finesse, clever use of controls and timing to skirt along the edge of the proverbial mirror, not to clip through it and then just win. Part of the fun of speedrunning is watching a game being played very skillfully and very quickly, and some tricks rub up against what some people would define as skillfully playing the game. So Mirror's Edge has multiple categories for the main run through the game, including any percent and glitchless. In any percent, you can be treated to a faster run of the game using a lot of technical trickery to run across surfaces in weird and impossible ways, accelerate far faster than was probably ever intended, abuse a bizarre mistake in the wall run kick programming that allows you to jump on one frame right afterwards, like Faith had a double jump or something, slide into parts of the world you were never meant to see, have an LSD trip nightmare as every frame of Faith's movement is suspended before her eyes, and climb through moving elevators to shoot up into darkness. This run is really interesting and showcases some amazing tricks and moves, but it's also maybe not the sort of stuff it's fun to see specifically in a speedrun of this type of game. This is obviously highly subjective, of course, but the community seems to agree with me, so I win.
I win.
They introduced the glitchless category, which specifically prohibits using major glitches that alter the flow of the game in this way. Glitchless runs don't go out of bounds, don't abuse the weird extra jump you can get from kicking off a wall, and prohibit a few other specific tricks that some people might deem against the spirit of Mirror's Edge. Glitchless has never and will never be faster than any percent, but to me at least, it's even more entertaining to watch. Runners in this category are navigating through more of the intended world of Mirror's Edge, which for someone who plays really likes,
that's why they both exist.
way more interesting challenge. All kinds of
Both are
secrets
interesting.
completely avoided by fairly easy tricks in any percent have to actually be played and routed properly in glitchless. Let's compare just one jump across both categories. Here's the entrance to the RPA building in the second level. This jump is one of the first properly tough jumps in the game. It's a long distance, but also involves downward traversal. You have to approach it at speed and jump really late, but also roll when you land or you get hurt. Either rolling or taking damage is really slow. A runner doesn't really want to do either of those things. In the current glitchless world record, the runner Wreck executes an incredibly skillful maneuver to take full advantage of this rail here. So they land on the rail instead of the regular ground, which prevents them having to roll or take damage, but they also turned in mid-air and executed a side jump to immediately get back to top speed when they landed. This is really, really cool. It's really difficult to do. I can't do it. Here's the same part in the current any percent world record by Filler Tracks. Tracks abuses the wall kick jump to effectively fly over this challenging gap, landing safely on some of the game's trademark white plant furniture stuff. Extrapolating tricks like this across a full game run makes for two very different and uniquely interesting paths through the game.
Stab the head, stab the head.
The question of which category should be considered the real speedrun of the game. But I
I got
don't
it stuck.
think there's an objective answer, at least for most games. Even in Bloodborne's case, using bugs that
Well,
were
watch this video and maybe you'll feel
There's a
feel
version of
different.
Bloodborne that was released, and it beats the game as fast as possible. And in Mirror's Edge, maybe clipping through walls should be seen as just as valid a strategy as not doing so. But everyone gets to decide for themselves how to figure out what a speedrun needs to be. And usually there's going to be enough people who feel that way that it's going to end up as a speedrun category. And the Mirror's Edge community has come up with quite a lot of categories over the years. I've only talked about one of the extra ones so far. There's also any percent in bounds, which specifically avoids out of bounds glitches if you think going oob is wrong and they're okay with the more advanced wall kick jump tricks and stuff. There's much more healthy competition when there are multiple agreed sets of rules to choose from. I imagine if there had only been one ruling for how to speedrun Mirror's Edge, it would be a lot less satisfying for a lot of runners and wouldn't have seen quite as many runners come and go over the years. One runner eventually got a job at DICE and worked on the sequel, which apparently some people even played. So that's nice. Speedrunning is a completely arbitrary challenge, one that most developers never even think to account for. So it's totally fine to have multiple ways of categorizing runs, different kinds of challenge and so on, because some types of run are more interesting than others, and none are really any more valid because they're all ultimately just silly things some people do for the sake of fun and competition. I think it's cool.
Ha
Means to play a game quickly.
I was right, you were wrong.
My favourite type of Mirror's Edge run is the 69 stars category, which is very nice. It's the category for running through all the game's optional time trials in one sitting and getting all the stars. It really embodies the things I enjoy the most about the glitchless speedrun. It's just great performances, utilising mechanics mostly intended by the game's developers. Runners do awesome stuff, like ignore the game's inbuilt run-ups for big jumps and instead make really precise movement over them to jump manually at the edge and make it further and faster. It's awesome. The current
Yay.
record is by VOD
Looks
Needle.
vaguely human.
I'm not sure.
I might
Got
need
in just a teeny smidge over 21 minutes due to a couple of minor mistakes.
You're kidding, right?
Someone is going to beat 21 minutes in this category, and I can't wait, it's going to be awesome. And because Mirror's Edge seems to inspire utter obsession in its fans, myself included, Speedrun.com also has a category extension leaderboard for even more weirder and specific runs. Speedrun.com/me-meme. It's pretty great. There's a true glitchless category here for weirdo purists like me who just want to see the actual game played near perfectly. There's categories that often only even have one or two submitters, where like runs where one runner uses the mouse and another uses the keyboard, or where two runners each use half of one controller. Honestly, this is just getting silly now. What about a New Game Plus category where players chapter select to the last segment and beat it in 13 seconds, and people are genuinely down to counting milliseconds to figure out who was actually the fastest? What about RBO, Reverse Boss Order, where runners chapter select to each boss in the game in reverse order and time beating each of them? What about Reverse RBO, where they do RBO backwards? Why would you do it like that? That's just boss. Why is it called that? How about any percent times 25, where one runner has decided to run the game 25 times in a row, which took over 17 hours, and which they openly declare no one will ever beat?
What the fuck are your sidesteps right now?
I told you, I'm not even paying attention anymore.
Why would you do this, Hekigan? Was your 60 millisecond lead in New Game Plus not enough anymore? Did you need something stronger? What are you doing to yourself? This is also where the segment
Okay.
speedrun lives, with various
So
elements,
now-
including the aforementioned Hekigan.
Pause. We can start doing the clothes. The clothing. I gotta kind of decide what I want to use for that. Maybe like a yellow top and then some more orange and red on the bottom. Okay.
Votart, Filler Tracks, and Wrecked, all contributing small
actually
sections to produce an absolutely
this.
incredible run.
Oh god.
Fabulous expression of a
It's all fucked
community's
up.
commitment to beating a game as fast as possible, and their years of developing
cord.
skills and learning more and more about how the game works. I love
No.
it. Link in the description. Just give it a look. It's just great. There's a tremendous sense of community.
I think it's good.
speedrunning. People share information and discoveries, discuss theories together, and all the tricks
Yay.
used in runs are by their nature immediately available for further analysis and use in other runs.
I remember like way back in the day, like in 2014, like I was in a Skype call with some other SMS runners. We were watching Tobo do some runs, and we've never seen that spin jump before, and it just like it blew our minds. We're like, okay, I'm never gonna go for that, and now it's just like commonplace. So that just goes to show like how far this game has come.
Yeah.
Speedrunning is an almost inherently collectivist activity in this sense. While there is competition to be the best and take or hold the record, almost no record holder has completely earned that position all on their own. The best runs
I have not ever played Terraria, no. I've seen it before, but I've not played it.
previous runners. The best run is often representative of many people's contributions, alongside the runner's own skill, of course. In a sense, speedruns are always a group effort. It's really not surprising that awesome charity events like GDQ have emerged from this space. It's just a grander scaled version of what speedrunning had kind of always been. You can't copyright a technique or strategy for beating a video game quickly. There are no patents in speedrunning. Proving that you got a time, or even getting the fastest time, isn't just an achievement or personal victory. It's also automatically a contribution to the greater community effort. And that's radical.
Step.
It's about socialism. Sometimes it's about beating video games very quickly. Part 3, in-depth investigation. Actually, no, I thought of a better title for this one.
Donkey Kong! He did a charity stream of speedrunning Donkey Kong 64, and it blew the hell up, and a bunch of, like, actually famous people came in. It was for, like, a trans charity. And... Is it Anastasia Ocasio-Cortez, the congresswoman? She came, and, like, ContraPoints came, and a bunch of, like, other activists and cool people came. It was really awesome.
Donkey Kong 64 is a game by Rareware for the Nintendo Switch.
Yep, sure did. It was awesome.
It's very much the embodiment of the stereotypes about Rare's games for the time
It was
period. Large levels.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Is that her name? My fucking brain is so bad at anything. Did you know I drove? Drove to the wrong place today, and I was real mad at myself.
Hundreds of different specific items you have to collect to
It's
unlock
fine.
more things to
It's
collect.
fine.
For instance,
It's
each one
fine.
has 500 bananas. But what makes it particularly troublesome is that some items are specifically for one of the 5 characters you play. To collect enough stuff to progress, you'd have to traverse the same environments over and over with every character, and the levels were often really big. At the time, it made the game feel big and like a cool, sprawling adventure that lasted a long time and had a lot of chances to see how each character can progress through the same environment using their own skills and abilities. That's because I was 7 years old.
Idiot!
It feels like time-consuming busy work. Lots of this was completely unnecessary from a design standpoint too. You could design a game with collectibles only one character could reach in the first place, instead of most of the time just having them hanging out there, faded out, reminding you you're going to have to come back here again with another character. And running back to that barrel that changes characters because you need to pick something else up is awful. Running back to previously completed levels because you finally have the characters you needed to pick up those bananas you'd already walked past 8 times is a more painful tragedy than Titus Andronicus. I would cut off my hand and send it to Emperor Saturninus if it meant I could have just picked that banana up 4 hours ago with Daddy Kong instead of Yankel Kong. I can feel my cells dividing as my precious existence rushes toward its finite end with nothing in the world to beguile my sorrow but the sweet siren song of
Oh, banana.
existential crisis in the form of a video game cartridge. I'm actually more aware of the futility of my existence after trying to go back and play this.
Now, I could sit you down and explain the progression of the Donkey Kong 64 any percent run to you like it was the back of my hand. But, firstly, there's already a video by Summoning Soul out there doing just that, and that video's better than anything I could do, so you should just go check that one out. And secondly, well, to be honest, I've seen a lot of speedruns at this point, and I'm kind of used to it, you know. Oh yeah, Donkey Kong 64, a game I beat in 72 hours as a kid, being beaten by a professional in 30 minutes. Yeah, sure, that's impressive. To a clown!
To a clown!
Circus!
From the circus!
Stronger. I've got the tolerance to this stuff. We need to go deeper and darker. We need to talk about the players who will settle for nothing more than total conquest. And no, I'm not talking about Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest, to get the pun. No, I'm talking about the Donkey Kong 64 100% speedrun. Yeah. Well, technically it's the 101% speedrun because Rareware were pretty good at ironically recognizing that they put way too many collectibles in their goddamn game.
To achieve 101% completion, players must collect the Nintendo coin, the Rareware coin, all 8 keys, all 10 battle crowns, all 20 fairies, all 201 golden bananas, and all 40 banana medals, each of which is awarded for collecting 75 of a Kong's bananas in a level, for a total of 3,000 bananas. Hey, but sometimes they come in little bunches of 5. Thanks, Donkey Kong. The rules list for this run on speedrun.com actually includes the stipulation that to submit runs for this category, you must hate yourself. Runners in this category endure such supreme torments that one of them fucking streamed themselves breaking their cartridge to make sure it was over.
This is my DK card.
Fun fact, did you know that the PAL version of the Donkey Kong 64 cartridge was grey, but the US retail version was banana yellow? You learn something new every day. This run is challenging in far more ways than the traditional run. In that run, your objective is fairly simple. Find the fastest way to the end, whatever that way may be, abusing cutscene glitches, level skips, moon jumps, etc. Effectively ending up with runs where you do as little as possible. This run's core is having to actually do everything the game asks of you, planning the most efficient route possible through all of it, and then somehow actually doing it all precisely and quickly. But with hundreds of golden bananas to collect, and some of these can be very challenging, and thousands of bananas. Executing on all of this in succession introduces a new kind of test for these runners: resilience. Paradoxically, as with the Beast Blood pellet, when quicker strategies are found, often that makes the game easier to beat because the length of time you have to focus on execution has gotten shorter. You only have to pull off 30 minutes of good stuff to beat the N% run in 30 minutes. If something takes around 5 hours to beat, that's 5 hours of time to make mistakes in. 5 hours to get tired, or lose focus, or slip from your intended most efficient path. These runs are essentially torture, and they're amazing. There's a 3-year-old run by German runner 360 Chris M that took 19 hours and 53 minutes. The best part of this run is, it has face cam. You can watch
It has face cam.
in real time as the sun sets and rises, and he gets ever closer to making it to the end.
Okay.
He no-sells it too. Like, by the end he still doesn't seem that tired. It's kind of nice, despite there being plenty of runs that are way
I kind of want to
more
add some more
optimized.
details,
Better
but I'm
runs push the
wondering
5.5 hours mark. There's something very special about runs
what
like this
colours
one,
to
where they
do.
probably know their planned route is going to take them a full day, but they sit down and do it. I kind of love runs like this just for the sheer
Blends in.
dedication, regardless of how efficient they are.
So,
ready, boys. PB, boys. I PB'd by 4 hours and 6 minutes. Pretty solid.
Wait, his last attempt took nearly 25 hours. Holy shit, various runs of this game have led
So
players to look
silly.
very closely at almost every aspect, even going so far as using hacking software to analyze the code in detail, looking for anything that can be exploited to make runs faster. DK64 has been investigated in a level of detail greater than the developers could have ever intended or expected, and that's led to new discoveries for improving runs, but also to something really cool. Enter Isotage. Isotage is a runner with a really respectable time in the any percent category. It's also the longest standing run in the top 10 by far. In fact, it was the world record for 6 months back in 2015. Isotage has made a lot of contributions to the community, including spending a lot of time digging around inside the game's code, finding new
I'm gonna
glitches
try and put
holes in
some
world
veins
geometry
on
and
it.
so on. Anything that could be exploited to get better runs. Isotage has found a lot of cool stuff in the game, including this image of a Rareware employee's face hidden inside the game's files, which looks like it's been edited in Game Boy camera. But they've also found stuff like this. Out-of-bounds collectibles. It's common for developers to leave items and objects in places players can't get to in the game proper and not worry about removing them, like this coin hidden in a wall in Mario 64 that someone actually figured out how to get. And since these items exist well outside the intended scope of the game, runners don't usually consider them collectibles as part of a run. They're more cool oddities that shouldn't really be considered as game objects to be collected. But what if an item was absolutely collectible, without any glitches, but no one had found it before? One day when messing around in the game's code looking for flags for collectible objects, Isotage found a banana coin that hadn't been accounted for in the level Fungi Forest. Banana coins in DK64 are used to buy items and upgrades, and because this is Donkey Kong 64, there are 6 different kinds of banana coin. There's one colour for each character, but also a multicoloured one, which is usually hard to find and gives 5 coins to every character as soon as it's collected. There's only 15 of them in the game, 1 in each level except Angry Aztec, which has 2, and 7 in the hub world of DK Isles. This new coin wasn't any of the ones that had been collected before. But unlike the other items, this one wasn't out of bounds. It was hidden in a place no one had ever thought to check, hidden in the tall grass in the level. Right about here. No, wait, sorry. Right about here. And there it is. As far as I can tell, this coin isn't mentioned anywhere on the internet prior to its discovery by Isotage in the game's code, and it's not in any strategy guide from the time period I can get my hands on. It's not really known whether the developers put this coin here intentionally, or forgot to remove it, or why they thought to give so little indication it was there. It's easy to see why it was missed for so long. Now, a cool kicker to this story would be that it invalidated all the 101% runs, or it turned out that there are now technically 102% runs or something, but banana coins aren't counted for percentages on the game's menu screen, and the total amount of coins you can get isn't even listed in the game anywhere. The 101% run doesn't even include all of the bananas, because the game only counts banana medals towards completion, so they don't even get all the bananas in the runs where you get 101% completion, which is a bit of a disappointment, really. You should get them all next time. To amuse
me.
The SGDQ run in 2017, soon after the coin was discovered, where they just stopped to get it for kicks.
Lo and behold, it is
The rainbow coin!
Yay.
That rainbow coin has been hidden basically since the game came out, so over 16 years, right?
It's not technically a major discovery, and it changes nothing about how the game is run in the main categories, outside of what are essentially ultra-masochistic jokes that people only really do just to be one of the 2 people who ever did it at all. But it's still a really, really cool discovery. Something was hidden just out of plain sight, even to the people who would make a point of collecting everything in the game. For 17 years. What's fun about the banana coin is that it's kind of an abstract example of how awesome speedrunning communities are for deconstructing and examining games. Like, people are so dedicated to coming to an understanding of a game, they're uncovering things which probably would have remained hidden forever otherwise. And that's just neat, no matter how you peel it. Oh god, did I just say...
Why is speedrunning awesome? Because people are awesome. Because watching someone try something over and over again, getting better and better and learning new secrets and strategies in order to be the best at something, sometimes for years, is compelling and fascinating and human in a way that no other form of media, no television show could ever adequately replicate, because a real human person is sitting right there and doing it. I opened this video using clips from an attempt to finish Zelda Ocarina of Time in the Any% category by Skater82297.
This video in particular is one of my favourites. This guy's been hammering away at Zelda Ocarina of Time since at least 2014, shaving seconds, fractions of seconds, off of his personal best. Here's a cool trick. On speedrun.com you can actually click to see all of the obsoleted runs that a runner has themselves gone on to supersede. If you turn that on, this guy basically is the top 20 fastest runs of Zelda of all time. But he didn't have number 1. Someone else was faster than him. So he just kept going and going. And you can see all of his runs. And live on his channel, you could have seen all of the many, many attempts that went into even getting those runs. And in this run, you see him get annoyed by the tiniest things. Goma doesn't activate about a second longer than he thinks it should, and it just frustrates the hell out of him.
Dude. Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! No, fucking shit, dude. Fuck off. I'm mad. Now, fuck off.
He's angry about this boss not spawning fast enough, even though he can kill it in seconds flat.
That was bullshit, dude. That was utter shit. That was bullshit.
A random onlooker would wonder why someone did this to themselves, did something over and over even though it clearly wasn't any fun for them. But then, they get deeper and deeper into the run, and they start to realise that this might be the one. The tone changes. Things get quiet. This might be happening. Is it happening?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Towards the end, he can barely even
So
control his
fun.
breathing. He's panicking, he's anxious, but he knows that if he can just execute on the ideas that he's been developing for years, this might be it.
Relief!
Oh my god, dude. Oh my fucking god.
Woo!
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Should I put the skirt under it or over it, I wonder?
Yes! Oh my god! Yes!
Probably put the skirt under it, honestly.
Dude. Oh my god! Yes!
What is this weird little bit?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
This run is currently the fastest run anyone has ever done of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina
Weird
of
little
Time.
bit. Get
And
out!
then, in that moment, that period of being utterly overjoyed at this achievement, it becomes clear why people do this, and what you can get from this that you can't get anywhere else.
I wanted
It's
to
a story,
try
not something written or directed by
Maple
someone.
Leaf.
A real human story. It's a story of perseverance and triumph, and it's derived from something so small and silly seeming, but that only makes it more beautiful in a way. And the best part is, the story's not over.
There's almost always more to learn about how to run any given game, always someone trying to beat the record. And anyone can be a part of that. Or, at the very least, anyone can be there to watch it happen. This is probably why so many people tune into events like GDQ and even donate money to support work that helps keep people alive so they can spend time with the people they love. Or
I'm gonna Google Maple Leaf so I can copy the shape. There's a good one. Make it bigger. Get big. Ugh, they're all so small. There we go. That's kind of. It's more make it darker. Should we do a red for that one, maybe? So, maybe we do red with orange on top. Maybe that works. Because there are also, well, there's some oranger ones. Maybe I can do that and then put some red on top. Look at it, it's beautiful. We're gonna try and copy that shape. I don't know. Just gonna give it some stabs on the top real quick. Make it stay together on its own a little bit. Step, 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 step. Snip, 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 snip. And then we can work on refining the shape. So it's sort of 3 leaves. And then 2 more at the bottom. Well, I'll probably make a simplified version, but I want to try. You never know unless you try.
Watching speedruns. Okay, I have to admit, I told a bit of a porcupine earlier. That's Cockney rhyming slang for lie, which I clearly know, obvious Cockney that I am. I never actually beat Donkey Kong 64 as a kid. I played it for 72 hours and then I couldn't beat the Donkey Kong arcade part near the end, which you need to do to unlock the final boss fight. So I had 72 hours to play and nothing to show for it. And frankly, that's piss.
That's
so,
piss!
I'm gonna put this little fucker to rest. I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna start the game again, and I'm gonna get absolutely everything in that game, including the rainbow coin, just to bring everything full circle. And I'm gonna get absolutely everything, all the bananas, not the minimum required for 101% completion. And I'm not gonna stop until it's done. I will fall asleep in my chair. I'm not that
Die on camera.
It is currently, no joke, 2:41 a.m. Hope you can see that.
Go to bed!
So I might do okay, but I should probably rig it up so that if anyone donates, an air horn will go
An air horn.
me up. Let's just torture me for other people's enjoyment. And all the donations will go to charity. So finally some good can come out of Donkey Kong 64. Because certainly no fun has come out of it. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. It's really just a love letter to the speedrunning community because I just find it's been such a fulfilling part of my life, and it looks like a lot of other people's. A lot of gaming spaces can be pretty cliquey at times, and I think speedrunning has generally avoided that with a lot of sort of close-knit but quite friendly communities. A lot of people
Is this working at all?
Information when I was doing research for this video, and that was just really awesome. And I just think it's cool how people can share the things they enjoy and learn more about stuff, and occasionally raise quite a lot of money for some really good causes. I just think the whole thing is so fun and kind in a way that you don't see very often. So, yeah, just thought it was nice. Probably could have thought of a clever ending to this video, but...
Idiot! So good.
Are you having trouble attracting a...
Oh my god, this one's an hour.
So, my recent fascination has been...
Maybe we go back to dolls. That will take way too long. Okay, this one's also super cute. We're back to the dolls!
Annyeong! Welcome to Delightful. June is Pride Month, so when Doll Motion suggested we do a Pride collaboration, I was totally on board. I've been eager to make another decor doll anyway, and with the LGBT community's official symbol being a rainbow, it's a match made in heaven. So yes, this is a collaboration.
It's a little
with several
silly,
other
but it's
lovely
cute.
doll YouTubers, including Doll Motion, Hextian, Cairo's Workshop, and Moonlight Jewel. We'll talk more about that at the end of the video. For now, bring on the rainbows. This time around, I'll be making a male decor character. Since creating Ayako here, I've come to know the Harajuku fashion community a bit better in that I've found lots more fashion icons on Instagram and have thoroughly stalked all of them.
I love hard
doll,
decora.
I'm drawing a huge amount of inspiration from Jinyan. He's so bright and colorful and confident with his fashion, and he rocks everything from unicorn jumpsuits to pink skirts. I drew up this sketch and just hoped I could make it work out, you know. I don't really have all these fabrics, but I'll try to make something similar at least. Okay, let's pick out a doll. Here's all the dudes I have left to customize. The plan was to use a Deuce Gorgon doll. I've stated it in a previous video that I feel his facial sculpt works well with an Asian face-up. But I feel like I've worked with him too recently.
Oh my.
So, you know, he doesn't have to be Japanese.
Wonderful.
Let's use Claude instead. I always forget how extruded Monster High boy dolls look. Legs for days. Let's give him his makeover. If you've watched a video from me before, you'll know the drill by now. Acetone gets the face off, you can chop off the hair, dig out the hair from the inside, and good.
I don't know if this looks anything like a maple leaf, or if it just looks like a pile
I
of
wasn't
crap.
sure if I'd use them at this point or not. This Claude has some light blue stains on his face and a small indent right there in between the brows, so that's fine. I actually like the indent because most people don't have perfect skin, so it'll make him look more realistic. Like it's a small scar or something. Since I changed directions and
Oh my
decided to use
goodness.
Claude instead, I drew a couple more sketches. I definitely want him to look like he dyed and styled his natural hair, so I threw out the straight-haired bob in favor of a high top cut. Since there's so much color happening in his hair and around his face and earrings, I thought a natural complexion and eye color would look best. Give the doll a couple layers of Mr. Super Clear to build up tooth on the vinyl head before drawing on it. Don't forget your mask. Dust red and dark brown pastels around the face for a more realistic variation.
Does it look like a leaf at all?
To hit up the cheeks near the temple. There's like another pokey-outy bit right there. It doesn't look very leaf-like. I might give up. Don't be mean to me. I'm trying my hardest. This looks like some fucking sea creature. I'm giving up. Let's look up fall leaf. Can I make that one, or is that also probably hard? I could probably make that. I'm upset. It's fine. Is that about doll length? We'll just make a round boy. Ugh. It's not a mustache, it's supposed to be a leaf. Then with watercolor pencils, we can start sketching his new face. I start out with a similar color to the skin tone to draw initial lines before committing with darker, more permanent shades. One thing I love about Decora fashion is how everybody looks happy. So I turn the corners of his lips upward by drawing them slightly above where they actually are on the mold. by shading the eyelid crease with several colors for more dimension. Next, I'm adding small touches like pinks and reds to the tear ducts. Then darkening the eyelashes, iris, and eyebrow with a black watercolor pencil. And then coming in with a cream pencil to highlight under the brows, around the corners, and on the cupid's bow. I'm laying it on pretty thick because I know that light colors tend to darken after more sealant goes on. The hardest parts are done, so here on out I darken the eyeliner and the pupils and add browns and oranges to the irises. He's getting delicate, thin eyelashes with a couple flicks from the pencil. And a little facial hair. Now let's move on to acrylic paint. I add the eye shine and dab on tiny colorful hearts on his cheeks.
Cute.
2 strokes converging at a tip is an easy way to paint a small heart. And this was smack dab in the middle of his face, which made it a little daunting to add, but with several layers of watered down light yellow, I built up the shape of the band-aid. Why a band-aid? I'm not really sure, but it does show up a lot in Harajuku fashion. Maybe it sends a message, like I'm tough enough to get into fights, but I'm kawaii no matter what. I have no idea, but it's cute. While the paints are out, I color code his head, which will help guide me when I add the hair. Give him a final coat of sealant, wait for 30 minutes, and then add glossy varnish to the irises to give it that spark of life.
She might have said it wrong, I don't know.
Acrylic yarn for his hair. He's got a cotton candy, blueberry, and strawberry style going on for his high top. So I'll be rooting these colors. To prepare the yarn, I cut small lengths that are double the length of what I want the end product to look like. The yarn as is too thick, so I unravel the strands. I'll be rooting the hair using this tool from the Doll Planet and a number 7 size needle, which has a larger eye. Loop each strand into the eye, then poke it into the head. Because yarn is fluffier and thicker than other kinds of doll hair, I've found you don't need to plug every hole. I still line the hairline thoroughly, but make the inside parts more sparse. The yarn is thick enough that there was no need to cover those ear holes. You can't even see them. I was on the fence about the ears, but decided here to glue them on. I first glued needles inside the
I'm
ears,
aware,
and
yes.
applied a little super glue to the rim before stopping them into the head. I tried to cut them flush, but there's an awkward gap, so let's fill that with a 2-part epoxy sculpt. Fill the gap and smooth things out with a wet paintbrush by stroking the material into the vinyl. That looks pretty good. And if you mix up too much epoxy like I always seem to do, you can make the earrings and accessories while you're at it. While the epoxy is curing, we might as well finish up his hair. The rainbow stripes are supposed to look like very short hair, so flocking comes to mind. I don't have official flocking, but we can make something similar with materials we already have. I collected yarn and cotton fabrics in the right color. It doesn't take much. It's easier to make flocking than you might think. Just take your scissors and chew up the material into tiny, tiny pieces. I will say that yarn is much easier to fuzzify than fabric, though. Once you've made a decent amount of fluff, paint some glue on, pick up the flocking,
It's
and cut
looking
it
like
down
about the
into
right
place.
length.
Work all the way around, and then start the next color.
Maybe some veins.
Once the first layer of fluff dried, I came back and added one more on top because it needed 2 layers to really look opaque. This part of the process was really fun because it was just so colorful.
Get back in there.
The high top looks a little too high, so I trim it down to size and style it with an eyebrow razor. My hope was that by feathering the ends, it would look more realistic. With the hair done and epoxy cured, I can paint the ears to match. And we can also glue on and paint the epoxy earrings. Next up, we've got clothes. I have a basic t-shirt and pants pattern that I ripped from factory clothes. See my doll clothes videos for details. Which I'm going to modify slightly to fit my design. Oh no, the shirt is too tight on his chest. I don't feel like remaking it, so let's widen the shirt by adding a pretty decorative panel.
One thing I like about this video is how, like, she sort of incorporates all the, like, what could be called mistakes into the design, but, like, some of the doll customs are such, like, a as-you-go process, like this one, you know, where she's like, well, the shirt is too wide. Well, we'll add a stripe, and it'll look nice. And it's like, I don't want to use that doll. I'll use this doll and redo the design to work with this doll. It's cool how it develops as the things are being made.
Great example of turning a mistake into design, which happens way more often than you'd think with artwork. I wouldn't have thought to make it like this intentionally, but I really like it. Happy accidents.
The pants are also
One of the cutest parts
so
of
cute.
this outfit are the rainbow suspenders. I begin by curling wire into those clasp shapes with a round nose plier. Slip a length of ribbon into the clasp and sew it closed. Before we connect the other end, I bring out the paints to turn this red ribbon into a rainbow ribbon. The plan was to include all 7 colors, but I ran out of space, so 6 out of 7 ain't bad.
Kitty!
I stitched the clasps to the pants, both front and back, with the front straps still loose. Instead of sewing them in place, I bent a length of paper clip and secured the
I'm gonna
strap
add some red.
to mimic the look of an adjustable strap.
So it look kind of red on the ends. Maybe look good, maybe look bad, I don't know.
I wish I could have found a rainbow striped cloth the right scale for dolls, but hopefully painting will look just as good. I know it's going to make the fabric stiffer. Here's a pair of sneakers from a Monster High doll. I can't remember whose they were, but I'm going to paint them to be just as colorful and kawaii as the rest of the doll. The pants needed some more pizzazz. If you paint a finished garment, stuff some cardboard inside to steady the fabric and to protect the other side. I think some cute puffy plaids will be perfect. Like the sky and the rainbows, it works together so well. The socks look too baggy and stiff, so I'm going to go ahead and sew them permanently close to the leg. And that's all the main parts of his outfit done. So from here on out, it's all about accessorizing with as many cute things as possible. We've got beads, kawaii cabochons, miniature food charms, everything we need to deck out our fabulous Decora boy. And with the accessories made, we're done. So I know I took this collab topic pretty literally in that I basically turned the rainbow logo into a character, but I absolutely love him. I love how he still looks like a Claude Wolf doll, but he's gay. He's gay Claude. I'm naming this character Juan.
Slightly cringe.
It sounds similar to Junyan, who was the main inspiration for this doll, but is an African American name which means just and true, according to the internet. Which is a great message for this collaboration, because everyone deserves to be just and true to themselves.
Nyam.
Just like with Ayako, I had so much fun making this doll because when you're working with bright colors, it puts you in a great mood.
Love his little
Is really into fashion, but lives in
his little like belt loop things. So cute.
America, so he's pushing the trend where he lives. I could also see him going to a pride parade dressed up like this with a bunch of friends, you know? That would be so much fun. While I prefer Decora and Fairy K fashions among the Japanese street fashion styles, there are so many more and such a huge variety out there, just like with people. So I am very happy to celebrate with you the variety of people in the world. Speaking of which, there's a ton of variety with
Yeah.
We've got drag queens, sailor scouts, and I honestly don't know who Dollmotion made, but I'll be watching her video next to find out.
It's the Studio Killers band main character slash the singer who sang about Jenny. I can't play it because I don't want to have copyright, but
So make sure to
and that's Sasha Velour.
And spread the love. There are links to all these fantastic artists in the description box, and there'll also be a playlist you can click at the end. Happy Pride! Stay artsy!
So cute. That's an old one, but it's one of my favorites. Should we like that one? I don't know. Maybe we can't win. I don't know. How long do I want to continue stabbing? Probably not that long. This is an older one, but it is one of my favorites. I think her eyelashes turned out super cute.
Annyeong! Today I'll be using this Katrine Demue to make a Tokidoki Mermicorno-inspired custom mermaid doll. I've been wanting to make a mermaid for a while now, but felt bad destroying a perfectly good doll's set of legs. Luckily, this brand new Katrine's leg popped off as soon as I deboxed her, so we have a volunteer. First, I'm going to switch the gloved hands with another Katrine I have so that my doll can have regular hands. Next, we're going to do something rather drastic. I want to use Laguna's face mold for this doll, because the artists at Monster Pie sculpted her to look fish-like. Naturally, she's perfect for a mermaid. So using my mannequin Laguna, I'm going to remove both Katrine and Laguna's heads and swap them around. To make Laguna's blue-gray face match the body, I'm busting out my brand new fancy-wancy airbrush. I've only tested it a couple times since I received it, so this will be the first time using it on a custom doll. After watching the excellent body color changing tutorials provided by Moonlight Jewel, I begin slowly coating Laguna's head in a white acrylic paint, one layer at a time, letting it dry
slightly darker.
Occasionally, I would mess up and get too close or squeeze out too much pigment, so I would wait for that to dry and then sand it down and try again. Eventually, after about 4 sessions, the head was the same white as Katrine's body.
Bleh.
To make her tail, I'm going to break off the rest of the legs by cutting off the plastic joint connecting them at the pelvis. And with lots of twisting and cutting, I was eventually able to remove that piece in the center, but it wasn't easy. Referencing my concept and sketching the rough draft onto some newspaper, I used the pelvis hole to add a loop of wire and extend the wire down to form the skeleton of the mermaid fin. I want both the tail and the fins to be posable, so I twisted the same piece of wire to form the armature so that it will be nice and strong. Forming the whole thing with one continuous piece of...
I'm gonna look up my own reference. Oh god. Gingle leaf. Yeah, there they are. These ones, they're so cool. They have such a fun little shape. That's the kind of shape I want to try and make with the little hole in the middle, sort of. I don't know, maybe. How hard is it? Is it easy or is it hard? Is it Dark Souls? Because the last game you suggested I play was Dark Souls, and I ain't gonna do that. I don't wanna. It's too hard.
wire will make it stronger than trying to piece separate lengths together. With the armature done, I decided to secure the pelvis joint with some epoxy sculpt to make sure the wire doesn't fall out. To ensure the wire doesn't unravel itself, I decided to sew up a tight sleeve around the armature using some scrap fabric. Might not be a necessary step, but I feel like it's keeping the wire in check. Next, we need to put some meat on those bones, if you will. Using some leftover fluff from an acrylic yarn wig I made, I'm going to pad out the tip. Very delicately, I use a tissue to encompass the loose stuffing and pin it in place. During this stage, you can push around the fluff and repin the tissue until you achieve your desired shape. Once it's close enough, take some embroidery thread and bind the tail. I'm going to bind it very tightly around the tip of the tail so that it tapers more and work my way up in a greasy-crossy fashion. We're basically getting everything in place so the final fabric can encompass this mess. So as long as the shape is okay, it doesn't matter how ugly this part looks. Before we can add that satisfying final layer, though, we've got to make those fins. Cutting rectangles of white linen, fold them in half, and Elmer's glue the fabric to itself to form the fin. You'll see I'm doing 2 fins at a time that are
Do a
connected
lot
in
of
the middle.
stabbage in
That's
the
for
middle.
strength. We don't want our fins sliding off the armature wire now, do we? Because I don't fully trust the glue, I'm also going to stitch the fabric on close to the wire. I continue until all the fins are formed. She kind of looks like a kite right now.
True. Does
When
seem
the
like a
glue's
wiki
dry,
game.
I sketch the outline of the fins and cut them into a more frilly fin-like shape. If the fins try to pull apart, just re-glue them. Using acrylic paint and an angled flat brush, I'm going to add color and design to the fins.
So then they have sort of like a curve along that edge.
Adding some simple gradations from lighter to dark colors adds some depth to the paint job. Eventually all the fins are done, both front and back. Before I add the final layer of fin fabric, there's a few more mods I want to make to her body. The fin is quite large around the hips, so to make the change from fish to human more natural, I'm going to bulk up her hip and booty area. I do want my mermaid to be curvier than your average Monster High doll, so I'm also going to give her some, enhancements up top. Don't look, kids! Now we can put that final fabric layer on. This is a scale pattern I drew up myself using Photoshop and sent to designyourfabric.com. They will print your original artwork onto a number of fabrics and ship it to your home. This here is the 8x8-inch sample square printed on organic linen. I made her tail exactly 8 inches long, so this should work out. I want a piece in front and a piece in back, with 2 side seams. The trick will be working around the fin. Using sticky tack to keep the loose fabric in place, I pin around the fin, trying to keep it even on both sides. Now, if you're familiar with sewing, you'd know that it would be easy to run a stitch down this side seam and then turn the fabric. However, to ensure the fabric clings as close as possible to the shape I want, I'm going to stitch it all by hand right on the doll. This means turning the edges of the fabric in on themselves to create a pretty finished exterior. So, after carefully repinning the fabric to have a turned edge, I very slowly begin hand sewing the pieces together.
So intense.
I'm using a whip stitch to keep things flat. We don't want this seam to pucker out. When you get to the fins, sew as close as you can and transition to the other side on the inside of the fabric so that the thread is hidden. Now this doll is long and clunky, so it was easier to film this part in my lap, so excuse my pajama bottoms. I turn the fabric at the tip of the fin as well and stitch this part very thoroughly before working back up the other side of the fin. Taking a pair of sharp thread scissors, I cut away the fabric at the top, contouring it to her body so the transition will be less noticeable. Using epoxy glue, I'm going to seal the fabric to the plastic body. Now that the fabric is attached, I'm going to add epoxy sculpt one last time to accentuate the curves and mask the fabric's edge. At last, I can use the airbrush again to evenly paint the modifications to match the skin color. After about 4 coats, you can no longer tell what's epoxy and what's plastic. It worked really well. With the body done, I can finally set that aside and work on the head. Using 3 beautiful nylon hair colors purchased from dollyhair.com, listed below, and a homemade reroot tool consisting of a drill chuck and a needle cut at an angle, the rerooting begins. My design has color in different spots around the head, so to make it easy for myself, I'm going to paint each part of the head with its designated hair color. Looks pretty funny by itself. I begin plugging in the hair one color at a time, working from the hairline inwards towards the part. This red color is so intense it's blowing out the camera a little bit. No joke, it's about that bright in real life too. Once it's all in, I add a final row of thick plugs to the part of the hair. To secure all that hair in place, take your flexible waterproof glue, I'm using Fabri-Tac, and squeeze it in through the nut hole. Feel around the exterior and press all the plugs inwards to meet the nozzle, assuring that you're gluing all of those loose plugs. With all the stress of rerooting and squishing the head, the face's paint job held up remarkably well. The tool did scratch off paint in a few places, so I'm going to patch those areas with a tiny paintbrush. Time for the face. With the hair swept up and protected, I give her a spray of Mr. Super Clear.
Ah, part 2 time. Here we go! Her face is Gorgina.
With the hair swept up and protected, I give her a spray of Mr. Super Clear. I think I was getting too confident with the airbrush at this point because I tried to add blush, but it came out way too strong. I still have a lot to learn. Nonetheless, I'm going to work with it and see what I can do.
Okay, let's... Excuse me. Maybe a little more pinched on the end.
When you can't move forward anymore, spray the doll again with your sealant. Slowly, I build up darker blues around the eyes. I'm having fun with the subtle color gradations in the face, like the blue to red and pink gradation that happens around the inner corners. I'm hoping it will echo and complement the color gradations in her fins. Not wanting to press too hard on the painted vinyl face in fear that it will rip off the paint, I decided to switch from pencils to acrylics. As well as adding white to the eyes, I'm also adding white lines to the edges of the eyebrows, around the tear duct, and the cupid's bow of the lips. It was around now I realized her left eye drooped down further than her right eye. It wasn't too noticeable, but I knew it would annoy me forever unless I did something about it, so you can see I'm lifting and correcting some lines in that area. To enhance the eyes, I add light blue near the pupil and darken the lids. Taking red, I carefully thicken the eyebrow hairs with a teeny little paintbrush. Now for the eyelashes. I'm only going to draw on the bottom lashes because I'll be giving her top lid some 3D lashes later. I add a deep red to the center of the pupil. I'm hoping this will give the face the perfect touch of eerie and mysterious beauty. To fake an
She looks so cool.
smile, I'm going to blob in some white acrylic paint very carefully. To help sell the illusion, I use a dark red to shade the lips, creating a fake edge. Time for the fun eye shine.
Does that look sort of like a ginkgo leaf?
Gloss varnish, I wet the eyes and
maybe, kind of, sort of.
So shiny.
I think I'll just leave it as is. And then we'll need one on the back, maybe two on the back.
I'm going to set her aside for now and work on the accessory. Using a mannequin doll, which is now my Laguna's body with the Katrine head, I make some fin-like ears as well as some seashells and accessories out of Sculpey clay. For her coral belt accessory, I form the basic shape with armature wire before fleshing it out with epoxy sculpt, trying it on the doll all the while so that it fits her body shape. I made two more fins for her coral belt and sewed them to the wire before covering it up with more epoxy. With various tools, I made small dots and rough coral textures until I was pleased with the look and then painted it. I left one part of the belt bare wire on purpose so that I could clamp it onto the doll, mostly complete, before adding final touches with epoxy and paint.
Okay, that'll help stabilize it. Feels a little empty there. We can put like a thin red leaf.
When that was all dry, I stitched the fins down to her sides.
What color do they turn? Yellow. Maybe orange. I could use that. That'd be good. Those are just like a very long teardrop sort of shape. What do you want to see about DBD? You look it up, you can find it.
I used fabric paint to freehand details, which I painted with acrylics once it dried. I want her to have little starfish on her cheeks, so using another spare Laguna doll, I formed little stars with more epoxy sculpt. This way, they will dry with the exact subtle curvature on the cheeks, so I know they will transfer and fit perfectly on my mermaid's face. Using more clay and epoxy, I create more fun sea-themed accessories. Once everything is baked or dry, I paint them to match my mermaid's design. I really love making clay shells and little starfish. I've always loved and been interested in the ocean, and I think that comes through with how much effort I put into these things. At least I hope it does. If you're ever stumped on how to paint something, looking up reference images can be a big help. Time to transfer the cheek starfish. I pop them off my scrap Laguna and attach them to the mermaid with Elmer's Blue All, which is the strong stuff. Because more sparkle is always better, I'm going to add a couple of pearl decals from the scrapbook section of Hobby Lobby with the same glue.
Guess she was good at the game, I don't know.
Puffy fabric paint, I add a couple dots.
I think there have probably been some issues with the matchmaking system, but I think kind of any online game has some issues with that. It's a tough one to figure out.
Referencing my concept sketch again, I add a couple of pink and red dots as well. time for eyelashes. Now, I'm dead set on having blue eyelashes to go with my color theme, but I only have black, so I figured I'd just paint them. The paint merged and clumped the lashes together, which I quite like.
The way that the clumpy lashes look, I really like too.
It made them look chunkier and more cartoony. Here's the hard part, attaching them. How on earth are you supposed to attach a minuscule edge of a surface perpendicularly to a plastic face? Well, with strong, quick-drying glue and a lot of patience. I take the eyelash and add a thin dab of glue to half of the eyelash. I start on the outer side. Next, delicately place it on the doll using tweezers if you like. Hold it in place until it dries. Carefully add more glue to the inside and outside of the lashes on the corner you just glued down. This makes the bond stronger for the next step. Apply some glue to the other half and gently hold it in place as well. Because we added more glue to the outer corner, it shouldn't pop out of place. Hold it there until it's completely dry. With the initial difficult part done, you can start building bands of glue on the tops and bottoms of the eyelashes, making sure each layer is completely dry before you add another one. This gives the lashes a bigger base, which means it is more securely glued to the face. I built up a good 7 layers or so of glue around the base of the eyelashes to the point where it has become thick and 3D, like an actual eyelid above the eye. So in a way, we used glue to sculpt an eyelid. After giving the eyelashes a jagged trim to match her jagged fin, I come back with more acrylic paint to mask the glue.
Eyelashes look so cool.
To the point of being semi-opaque. Once you've painted on top of the glue, the lashes
so
are
cool.
seamless with your face up and are very strongly attached. It's time to take her hair down and style it. Since this video is already very long, I'll point you in the direction of these doll hair pros if you'd like to know more about curling doll hair. Let's not forget those mermaid ears. Combing the hair aside, I stab the wires of the ear into the head, then take pairs of pliers and twist them together on the inside. With some final hairstyling and braids, it's finally time to reattach her head. My sister came to visit me this past January, and we had so much fun together. Naturally, my doll didn't make much progress, so it felt like this poor thing has been headless for weeks. So putting it back on was very satisfying. With her reassembled at last, I can finally pose her. The fins and tail look pretty good when bent, and it has a fairly good range of motion too. I'm very pleased with how she turned out.
She got her titties out! Ugh. Gorgeous.
So involved, she took me ages to make. Still, I think she's one of my best yet because I put so much love and effort.
It looks lumpy.
She's so tall though, I'm having to use the 17-inch Monster High stand just to hold her up. I think she might look best suspended from the ceiling or something, but I'll figure that out later. I think the fabric looks cute, but it does slightly deform when bent and breaks the illusion of a scaly fish fin. So I'm thinking if I ever do a Mermaid 2.0, I'm going to try sculpting segments of the tail and stringing them together with elastic, ball-jointed doll style. What do you guys think? If you were to transform a Mermacorno into a doll, which one would you have chosen? Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe for more fun doll customs. Stay artsy! Annyeong!
Annyeong! Cat! I don't know. People do weird things. Considering if I want to go to bed now. None of these are very short. I keep picking long videos because I'm a goofy goober. Yeah, sure.
Hey, are you any good at
Ma
origami?
bim bam.
Well, don't curse. We're in school.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Hey,
Yo,
hey, I heard that,
this guy's
Jared.
fucking so
Get to
tight.
math.
Is Origami Steve good at origami? Dumb fucking question. Think about it with your fucking brain before you
Get out of here, cursing Jerry.
Cursing Jerry's vaping everywhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk to Origami Steve.
Oh shit, he's folding up my vape fog in the air.
Don't curse. I'm gonna send you to the principal's office. Get out of here. No, I'm sorry, Origami Steve. Yeah. I know you're good at origami. Can you fold books
He's
into
the fucking
words?
best at origami.
I swear to God. Cursing Jerry, I'll call your dad.
Fuck on the shirt.
Can you fold books into
Not my fucking dad.
Get to lunch. Taco Tuesday. Now, can you fold books into words?
Only Bibles.
Yeah. Louis Zong is really good. Louis Zong does some cool music stuff too. They do like animations and music at the same time. It's cool. Ghost Cowboys. See? Look. Louis Zong Ghost playlist. There's 9 whole videos of one ghosts. Where the fuck did I put it? There it is. Wild. It's so cute. Love it. Adorable. I may go to bed now. We will continue project another day, perhaps. I get sleepy. I wanna go to bed. They got away. Who cares how? I don't know. He might have ghost busting powers or something. What if I just put the maple leaf on the back? How bad does it look from the back? Does it look complete shit back there? I don't know. It could be her wings. Does it look like wings at all? Yeah, leaf dress. Dress of leaves. I might do a tiny bit of connection of these two just so they don't fall apart.
know. I'm in a fall mood. It's fall. There's leaves on the trees and such. He's a fall fairy. A fairy for the fall. He's got a little face in the head and It's a mess. I'll do it later. Goodbye. I don't want any more. I'm sleepy now. I'll sing a song and then I'm gonna go and lie down. I'll more now. I'm gonna do more Presidents of the United States because I like this band. That's all.
I'm sat alone in a boggy mush, totally emotionless except for the mud flowed up in her love's pajamas. She totally confused all the passing piranhas. She's lump, she's in my head. She's lump, she might be dead. Love lingered last in line for brains, and the one she got was sort of rotten and insane. Small things so sad the birds could land. His love fast asleep, rocking out with the band. She's lump, she's in my head. She's lump, she might be dead. Bow, ba ba na 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 bow, bow, ba ba na 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 bow, bow, ba ba na 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 bow. Lump was limp and lonely and needed a shove. Lump slipped on a kiss and tumbled into love. She spent her 20s between the sheets and life limped along at subsonic speeds. She's lump, she's in my head. She's lump, she might be dead. Is this lump out of my head? I think so. Is this lump out of my head? I think so. Is this lump out of my head? I think so. Is this lump out of my head? I don't know. Blech, wasn't my best. I feel like I'm out of... I need a drink. I'm gonna go drink water. Anyways, goodbye. Have a lovely rest of your week. I'll see you next weekend. Maybe we'll do more Fall Fairy on the weekend. But for now, goodbye.